Right, roll up, roll up, roll up. We are here for the major. It is grand finals time, championship Sunday here in LATAM for the Six major. It is going to be absolutely beautiful. We have had 5 best of 3s building up to this point, and now we have one final best of 5 to decide the true champion of Brazil. Will it be the Ninjas in Pajamas, or will it be FaZe Clan fighting back from the lower bracket? Those are the questions, but bringing you the answers are going to be myself and, of course, the main man, big boy Ace of Pyrite. Let's bring him on and let's get this party bloody started with a bang, Tim.
And bangs is what we are going to have tonight, Jackie. I'm absolutely certain of it. There's going to be fireworks left, right and centre. I mean, there's fireworks already. Look at the jackets, Jackie. We're bringing it out full force. Oof, it just wouldn't feel right. We might be at home. It wouldn't feel right to cast the grand final without bringing out the old threads, without getting the old jackets on there.
Mate, you know, we've been dripping throughout the whole season. We've been bringing some Fresh Prince style, some Carlton vibes, but we thought it was time to dial it up a notch on the old professionalism. Not in terms of the commentary, but definitely when it comes to the clothing.
There'll be plenty of fun to be had, don't you worry, but there's going to be plenty of thunder getting brought as well, not just by the 2 teams on the board, but by Jackie and I as well, I'm sure. Excitement it is going to be from wall to wall. We've already seen a season that has catapulted us through Siege at 100 miles an hour, it's felt like at times, and it's all been leading up to this. You've watched it along the way, I'm sure. We've enjoyed it throughout, and now we're going to see who is the ultimate in Brazil right now. We're going to see who's the major winner.
The Lord of LATAM will be crowned tonight. They'll be taking that crown and walking away with it. But of course, Tim, there's still so much left to go to decide it. Although we've been building up to this point and we have not stopped waxing lyrical about the idea of Championship Sunday, and we finally made it here, we still got a best of 5 ahead of us. There is a slight caveat to it, of course. NIP, they won in the upper bracket. They were able to make their way through to the grand final first, which means they have a 1 map advantage. FaZe Clan, they don't have that blessing, Tim, and they struggled in the last encounter they had against NIP.
It wasn't pretty. That's the only way to put it. Clubhouse, they were rocked 7-1, and then Consulate didn't go any better, and NIP just rolled over them in quick succession. But FaZe gave us a much better showing against Team Liquid. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been here today. But it really did come down to the wire at the end, Jackie. Another couple of overtimes for us, and of course, that round 15 disappointment for Palu as the flashbang just didn't get far enough inside. Flashed himself and it allowed Mav to stick up defuse. But pros don't fake, Jackie, and Mav proved it.
Mate, that entire series was ridiculous. All the games we've had through the major have just been monsoons. They have been absolutely wild top to bottom. And once tonight is all said and done and we find our champion crowned, definitely go back and invest in watching those VODs, because you will be missing out on some of the best games of Siege we've seen coming out of Brazil. They were tremendous from top to bottom, but let's really start to get a good look at the top and bottom of the NIP roster, Tim, and work our way through, speculatively, how we think they're going to show up tonight. Because when it comes down to it, there's a lot of names here that have been popping off the whole way through the regular season, topping the leaderboards with kills, being second only to Team Liquid. But Team Liquid, they're not in the tournament anymore.
This team is dripping with lethality. That is probably the best way that I can put it. Jackie Muzi and Pino, particularly in the head-to-head gunfights, but everybody else has their moments as well. Julio with those nitros, he promised us yesterday, Jackie.
He did.
He promised us. He's got to deliver. He promised us some more of those unbelievable nitro players that we've had from him. Kamikaze has proved that he is up there with the best on support, getting the diffuser down over and over again in tough circumstances. And Psycho, I remember his name coming up a good few times yesterday. 2Ks, 3Ks, big moments from him as well. This is a team that is absolutely stacked.
Mate, each and every one of them is a true powerhouse, and this is the opportunity for them to really flex their fingers and do some damage when we get into the best of 5 tonight, where they'll face off against FaZe Clan. We do have some of the highlights, though, of the true level of lethality they've been busting out time and time again here throughout the major, and we can roll this one back a little bit, have a bit of a glimpse of the true power plays they've had, Tim, because boy oh boy have they had an awful lot.
It's just been an absolute masterclass throughout the season. Like you say, they've had some real power plays. Beautiful 2K from Muzi there, and so many vertical kills. It really is a big part of their game. Pino double kill on the nitro. Every time, even though you know it's coming, it's still an absolute beauty every time you see that one. And I can't stress how difficult it can be to thread the eye of the needle with the nitro going over the top of that wall, especially when it's electrified. But very much a team that are happy to play on the rappel. Look at the movement there. Playing on the rappel, playing vertically, they are more than comfortable. And so that means FaZe, they really need to be locking down multiple floors here. They need to have good extensions, and they need to prevent NIP getting into these positions of vertical prowess above them.
Oh, they do indeed. But this is just the ninjas in pajamas. Of course, the side they're facing off against will be FaZe Clan, and if you're unfamiliar, get yourself enamored with these 5 furious Siege competitors that are up on your screen now. From top to bottom, they are damn dominant. Yuna's had his rounds of showing up, specifically with the shotgun into the last round of Oregon, Tim. They said themselves, Mav popped on for the interview. He was telling us how Yuna, he felt like he was having a bit of a struggle in yesterday's major games, but he turned up when it mattered most and absolutely buttered the bread of FaZe Clan to bring them into the grand final, Tim.
Yuna's an overtime master. That's what he's there for right now. That's what we can see, that they're keeping him. It just keeps him busy. He gets into those final rounds and just shuts it out. We saw him do it against Lukid. We saw him do it yesterday. Like you say, I think it was a 3 with the shotgun in Oregon to shut Team Liquid down. And it just came out of nowhere. He hadn't had the best game, it's fair to say. And he just explodes into those late rounds. And we've seen him do it a number of times now. So certainly one to watch if we see any of these maps go in the distance. And through the regular map, who are you going to be looking out for, apart from all of them? Astro and Ion particularly impressed yesterday and over the season. Ion, again, having some big clutch moments and just really coming through when his team needed him to. Really strong on the entry as well yesterday was Ion.
Oh man, he was damn dominant, really strong. And of course, as you said, throughout the entirety of the BR6 weeklies, that was what he was doing as well. And why don't we take a look back at some of those monumental plays, as we've prepared another highlight reel here to tantalize you and get your taste buds excited for what you're going to get to gobble down on when we go into this best of 5. Here's some of those replays from FaZe.
Absolute beauty from Ion there onto Redux. It's the second that comes through into Astronomy there that really is impressive, though. And Let's not forget the only
Yeah.
interrogation that we've seen through the season. That does go to Astro. He managed to lock that one down. And again, you can see lots of verticality being used in these replays, lots of repels. So you'd expect that they should be familiar with shutting down that game. What did they find difficult when trying to dominate from those positions? And I think it is going to be something that we see come in as a real key factor today.
Oh, mate, this entire series is a major key to unlocking the castle of Brazilian Siege to come out as the #1, the best in Brazil for this stage of BR6, to take a major title, Tim, to win a 6 major. That is what you're competing for, and I don't think we could have asked for a better way to build up to it. The bracket play was incredible. We might have lost some of the teams that we potentially expected to see in this final, but the teams we've got here now really need to prove a point, and I think all of that spotlight truly is on NIP. The #2 from SI, Tim, this is their chance once again to get themselves a boatload of points to move closer to requalifying into SI once again.
Well, that's it. Everything's on the line now, isn't it? This is your chance now. You've got yourself here, NIP and FaZe. They've both made it all this way, and they are now playing for the lion's share. They're playing for that $50,000 top prize, and also, as you say, 285 SI points. And that is massive in the grand scheme of things, because let's not forget, we've only got 2 stages this time around where they're going to be dished out. Normally, it will be over 3. So it gives the other teams a little bit of a less chance to catch them up. So it is a really big one, and if they can then come in strong to stage 2, they are well on their way to Montreal in February.
Oh, mate, they really, really could be. And what a return it would be, and what an upset it would be if FaZe Clan are able to dethrone NIP, stop the Ninjas dead in their tracks, and really leave them quite phased off the back of this lower bracket slog they've been through. If they're going to do that, though, Tim, it means they have to effectively not drop a single map coming into it. They need to go from strength to strength, because they're at a 1-map disadvantage, even from the get-go.
That's it. It's the first map for me is going to be extremely important. If NIP come in and manage to claim the victory on that first map, then it really... I'm not saying it's over for FaZe. Yeah. We have seen teams fight back. Famously, we've seen G2 fight back from 2 maps down against the Evil Geniuses. It was an absolute classic of a match, but the fact that it's a classic, the fact that it stands out is because it is unusual, and it's going to be a massive task then for FaZe to do that. They need to come in, get the first one, and just wipe out that advantage. Have the momentum, and then it really is game on.
It really, really is. And it'll be game on relatively soon as well. We're getting the lobby set up for this one. Then we'll be sliding into our last match of the major. The Championship Sunday best of 5. And you know what? It will be a bit of a fun day, Tim. I'm strapped in. I'm ready for it. I can't wait for it to kick off. But of course, we need to know where it's going to kick off, where it's going to get Larry, Tim. And what are you thinking in terms of the vetoes? You got any ideas of how this one's going to shape up?
Well, I've got to flip it onto the reverse today, haven't I? I've got to pick out the bans, really, because we've got 5 maps that will be chosen. We'll only see 4 of them, but effectively each team will be banning 1. So for me, I think we're probably going to see Theme Park banned out. I would also expect Oregon to be banned out, but I suppose the caveat there is I'm a little bit unsure about Consulate's position, because we know it's an NIP map. They dominated FaZe there yesterday. So do FaZe switch away from their almost permanent ban of Theme Park to ban Consulate out? You know, that is a possibility. But the good thing is we will be seeing at least a majority of the maps. So long as FaZe can battle and keep themselves in it, we will be seeing most of them.
Yeah, that's a good point, but let's see if your previous point is going to be accurate, if you'll be right on the money for the veto. We'll bring it on in, and we'll have a look, Tim, if you've been able to be clairvoyant once again, or if you've got it wrong for the final time, and we'll have to strap in to see where this wild road of a best of 5 is going to take us, mate.
Well, this is what I love about Best of 5. I mean, we can see there the picks are coming in now. Coastline, Oregon, not too much of a surprise. Villa coming out as a ban and Theme Park. So Villa is the surprise there from NIP. I thought that they would have banned out Oregon, but FaZe picked it before they got a chance. So smart move from FaZe. We've seen NIP really, really struggle on Oregon, but I'm just not sure about that first map for FaZe there. I think that could be a real ticket for the struggle bus there, Jacket.
Tim, I'm scared. Looking off the back of this, it's worrying me a little, because I feel like if FaZe Clan don't come out red hot piping hot the whole way through and ready to dominate on the opening map of Coastline, they could actually fall out of this competition quite quickly. I reckon they do need to pick up Coast, go on to Oregon with the same level of stature, because it's not looking ideal. We know Coastline can be a good map for either one of these teams, and NIP, I feel like on the day going into it with the quality of play they had yesterday, they might take the edge. Maybe they get Oregon, but then Consulate, Tim, that's going to be so hard.
It really is. You look at that and you think, I can really see a timeline where basically these teams just hold on to their own maps and we see it finished off on Consulate, NIP coming through and getting the third that they need there. Of course, we won't go all the way to the decider on Cafe. That just is there at the end because it was the map that was left. We will see a maximum of 4 because NIP have got that 1 map start because they came through the upper bracket. So they get a 1 map start in the best of 5. So the most we will see will be Clubhouse to decide which way it goes. But for me, I'd be, at this point, a little bit surprised if it got there. Coastline, I don't feel like it could have been a better first map because I feel like that's the decider for me. That's almost the one that is really going to determine how this goes. If FaZe can win that, then I think we see it go all the way to Clubhouse. If not, I think we see it over before that.
Well, here we go into Coastline. The first map of the best of 5 of the grand final of the major. Get hyped up. Bring the ruckus into this one. Tell all of your friends. Send the link around. Make some noise. Tweet in #6major, #BR6, and start screaming, ranting, and raving about the scenes that are about to unfold here. This is going to be back-to-back non-stop siege action from start to finish. I do hope you'll be joining us for the whole venture, as I cannot wait to step inside of it. Coastline to open it up. NIP starting off on the defense. FaZe Clan will be on the attack for this one, Tim. Hold on to your socks. Get those glasses strapped on. We're going in.
Certainly are, and I can hear you shouting, Jackie, give me some stats here, so let me know what we're looking at on Coastline. And I can tell you, through the regular season, we saw these teams play on Coastline once each, and it was successful in both attempts. It was a win for both on Coastline. Now, I don't know if you can read anything into this, Jackie, but I mean, we've got the Thinker ban there. That's not too much of a surprise. That's targeted at Una. We've got Dokkaebi, Clash, and Valkyrie. So slightly unusual bans there, particularly the Dokkaebi coming out. Clash, we see sort of 50-50. It's not too much of a surprise to see Clash taken off the board. Very frustrating operator. But the point that I was going to make, so both of them have won Coastline during the regular season. Now, FaZe won it against Black Dragons. NIP won it against Furia. Now, Furia, we did see, had that possibility for an upset, but did ultimately end up finishing on the bottom of the table. And, you know, I don't know whether you can read something into that and maybe say that the value of the win for FaZe was maybe slightly higher there against the good Black Dragons side. But one way or another, these two are going to fight tooth and nail for this opening map because it's massive. FaZe, they need to level off that advantage. They need to get themselves in here and just go 1-for-1. NIP, they know that if they get this one on the board, they are more than an arm and a leg through that door towards victory. They are difficult to peel out of that room at that point.
Oh, once they get in, mate, you're not getting rid of it. I know we've said it before, but it's like damp, Tim. If you start getting damp in the house, just good luck. Pack your bags, move out, tell your landlord and hightail it to a different location because it's really going to be quite a struggle to get rid of it. And that's what NIP are like if they find momentum coming into a series. And on a map like Coastline to start it off, momentum is really going to play a big deal into the course of the opening rounds, Tim. At least for FaZe, you've got that attacking start. You can try and set the tempo of the game. But what worries me is we were seeing a lot of mistakes yesterday off the back of their attack. It was in those fight or flight moments in the last 20 seconds of the rounds where effectively they weren't opening up the sights. They weren't forcing players out from NIP and leaving them feeling uncomfortable. Then they charge in and panic, Tim, when it came to the 1v1s and lose based off time that NIP love to play with when they're on their defense.
This is it. NIP do love to play with time on the defense, and they will just let you tick that clock down. If you're not going to get aggressive, NIP are unlikely to get up in your face. They're unlikely to pressure you. They're unlikely to force you to speed up. We saw them do it very successfully against Team Liquid in the first round of the major. They just were not for speeding that game up, and Team Liquid were punished for it because the time ticked away so many times. And right now, Psycho, he's just waiting in the main reception. He's looking to greet FaZe Clan into the resort here, Jackie.
Is it going to be a warm welcome? Or will it be a heavy-handed play with him being left bludgeoned down on the ground when the push comes out? Push not really coming to shove just yet, though, into round one. Fairly slow so far from FaZe Clan, and I hope we do see a little bit more drone usage coming through as well into tonight's games, as previously they were struggling a little bit. They were face-checking far too many angles versus NIP into their best-of-3 previously, and of course, that's the reason why they had to make the comeback through the lower bracket, because they lost out in that upper bracket gambit against NIP. A minute and 15 seconds on the clock right now, though, Tim. Haven't actually seen first contact being found. Some near shots with barricades being broken and bullets whizzing by, but it's merely just free haircuts that are being given out. No actual frags.
Not as of yet, and the time has ticked down to only 1 minute left on the clock, and we are going to see an explosion of action towards the end of this one. I would imagine we can see the utility raining in now, just looking to prepare that default plant spot. Live goes in under the cover of smoke. He's going to be trying to get that diffuser down, and it looks like he's going to be successful. He's moved himself away from the bomb chassis. That prevents the smoke being able to deny with the toxic canisters. What a nitro coming in from Pino to shut Live down, but that still leaves us 5 versus 3. And with 3 men left on the retake, this is extremely difficult for NIP from here. You're going to have one on double window. You've got one in aquarium, probably one out on the balcony, and it is not going to be an easy job right now. Muzi, he's looking for any angle he can gain out onto that balcony. He makes a challenge. He will get Astro. There is potentially room here for one of these NIP players to just get themselves onto that diffuser. Muzi with a heads-up play to take Mav off the rappel, and it all comes down to Yuna in a 1v3. There is a man on the diffuser. He takes down Psycho, and that's all that they needed. Huge play from Yuna. He will bring the first round into the book, and that is a little bit of a misstep from NIP there, leaving the man on his own on the diffuser. They had 3 versus 1. All it needed was one covering him to prevent Yuna making those shots.
And that's the play that costs them a vital opening round. Fair enough. I was sat there thinking this is going to be MVP Muzi coming out in the opening round, Tim, with the bold confidence ball to leap himself out the window, go for the run out, find the frag onto the player, repelling, waiting to swing in like Spider-Man and save round. But in the end, the round is still saved, but by a different operator, by Yuna coming in clutch on the end. Fasher the Smasher, as he smashes the hopes and dreams of NIP, coming in with a clean first on the board. That's a hell of a way to open it, and a misplay that might plague the minds of NIP. They need to shake that one off immediately, reset, and come in fresh into round 2, Tim.
NIP, as you say, they're going to be heading into the kitchen now looking for that refresh. They're going to have to hold on to that top floor for as long as possible. We've got Mav on the sledge, we've got Live on the Jackal, which tells me that FaZe are going to be coming in here looking to clear out any of those roamers and make it very difficult for NIP to keep hold of the top floor now. Interestingly, no Nomad on the side of FaZe once again. I feel like I've said this before in the last day or two, and we have seen advantage taken here on coastline of teams not bringing the Nomad. If you remember that Paolu and Nesk roam, that little wander they had up the main stairs onto the flank and just decimated, turned the round on its head. And right now it's still a choice that FaZe are making not to bring that along with them. No gridlock, no Nomad, and that does make it all the more difficult to shut down that roam, and particularly the flank from coming back up those stairs.
A bit of a scary way to kick off the game then. NIP, no matter of what will the adjustment be coming into this round, are they going to be able to keep their roamers utilized and not get really too much free information giving away? We can see that Julio wants to try and make a play at least and hold down towards the front entrance by a cocktail, but will he be looking like Tom Cruise and cruising his way through this encounter? It seems like he will with the first. As Yuna, he might have come in clutch previously. round one, but into round two, he is done. Follow-up frags coming back through, though, as we see him decimating everyone in front of them, Tim, and leaving us into a 3 versus 2, effectively. Diffuser's going to go down, though. Mav, he's in a revivable location as long as the Sophia can fully commit to this, and that's all on Ion to protect them on the choke point.
NIP now just playing a little bit lax inside of the site, allowing that diffuser to go down a little too much here. First 2 rounds, 2 successful diffuser plants, and as much as you might have the man advantage, it just makes it extremely difficult for you, because then you are fighting against the clock. You effectively become the attackers, but Pino, he goes a long way towards getting this one over the line. Kill onto Astro leaves us 1 versus 3, but with only 5 seconds left to go, the question is now, can NIP protect the man on the disable better than last time? Yes, they can. Psycho shuts down Mav, and that is exactly what they needed. Inside of run, you've got to have somebody backing up your man. That is when he is at his absolute most vulnerable, is when he is disabling that diffuser. Perfect plays from NIP that time. The Wamai challenging on the door. Psycho shuts it down. That's going to be round 2, and what a perfect start with Adia Jackie. 1 each on the scoreboard, and they are going at it right from minute 1.
That was really close, though. 0.8 seconds effectively left on the diffuser as he was able to pick it up. If the Wamai went down, so did the round. So that would have been a second picked up for FaZe. And at least the one thing I've noticed coming out already, Tim, it does feel like FaZe, they've learned from their mistakes. They've clearly looked back over the matchup they had and the best of 3 they played against the NIP yesterday, because they're clearing their angles a lot more effectively. They're playing for the trades as well, and they've turned the tempo up. NIP, they are a slow team. They want to turtle. They want to hold crossfighters and make full use of the utility they have available to them to beat you into a pulp and overthrow you in the late round. But what we're seeing now is the fact that FaZe, they're taking the fight straight to them, and they are actually dealing with what's directly in front of them, Tim. They're not second-guessing themselves. They're peeking in. They're playing off the contact, and if they do lose a player, they will trade it rather than just giving away freebies tonight.
It's interesting to see this playing out on coastline. It is a bit of a gamble for both teams, really. Obviously, it was NIP's pick, so FaZe, it was a little bit out of their hands. Now, I can understand the logic of NIP picking this coming in here. So FaZe have played it twice inside of the major so far, and they have lost it both times. They lost 7-3 to Team 1 and then got absolutely decimated by Team Liquid here on coastline yesterday, 7-1. So I can understand NIP's logic, but if we look back to their performance in the major so far, they played on this map, coastline, against Team Liquid and lost on the first day. It was 7-5 to Team Liquid. So although they took the fixture overall, this was the one map that they lost to Team Liquid. So a bit of a gamble for them, really, coming in on the back of FaZe not playing that well here, because they are not rolling in on the back of a victory either.
No, they're not. But we are going to be rolling into a bit of a poll as well. We asked, who is going to win the grand final? And we have 76% believing in NIP, 24 in favour of FaZe. And that's quite a few voters that have come in. But I reckon we could do better than that. I reckon we can get some more viewers in here and we can get loud for the major. We want you to bring the ruckus, as it's going to be a hell of a day and a hell of a best of 5. And it's only just beginning. It's 1-1 apiece currently. And live, I'm loving the pace of it, Tim. There's a lot more aggression coming out from FaZe Clan tonight. Issue is, though, they lose out in the opening duels. It's a benefactor coming through from Pino to actually get the initial kill on the board, on the dock, turn around to heal his teammates back up as well and keep them in a good spot here. You've got 30 seconds to play with. Don't overreact. Take it bit by bit. Muzi on the peek out towards the balcony. He does eventually realise that Astro was lurking there the entire time, goes in and brings it back into a 4-on-3, Tim. But it's still not ideal, especially when they're dropping numbers like this. 2 players alive. Scratch that, just 1. Mav the Madman. Can he sprint in and deny the defuse that's coming out from Muzi? He needs to get the peek in soon, but he can't find the angle. He's going to drop down to his demise as Psycho will come through looking like Patrick Bateman. And NIP get the opener once again. That's now a 2-1 split on Coast.
Again, much better retake than round 1 from NIP there. I think they got a little bit overexcited in round 1. A couple of them bailed out of windows, found themselves outside, and then they didn't have any choice but for the man to try and stick the disable. But this time around, that cover was in place, just like in round 2. Able to shut Mav down. He couldn't quite get the angle off the rappel from double window. I think he would have struggled regardless, because the positioning of the man on the disable was just absolutely perfect. So we find ourselves 2-1 on the scoreboard now to NIP, and they are on the defense. Generally speaking, that is where teams struggle to pick up rounds, Jackie. I think if NIP come out of this half with an advantage, going into the attack, we've seen them do very, very well on the attack so far here. Regular season, they were unbeaten. Against Ninjas in Pajamas, again, they did reasonably well. Going to be a tough one for FaZe Clan.
It really will be. You've got to keep the scoreline close. The trade of rounds that we had in the first, that's what you need to keep up the whole way throughout the game. Keep trading those rounds back and forth. NIP get to 2, push back. Don't let them get comfy. Don't let them build a buffer to be able to cultivate rounds so they have that buffer to work with when they then switch onto their attacking side. Fight back immediately, keep the game relatively close, into a 2-on-2 and tie it up. I'm really enjoying the faster style of Siege that's coming out from FaZe. I feel like they have had a good read into why they were losing out on their map choices yesterday, Tim, and they've come in with that knowledge. They're putting it to the table, obviously just getting unlucky there in the way it was played on the post plant. You're on the rappel. If the angle would have been found and he actually did get the kill, there was a possibility they could have won it off the back of that, because that diffuser was down so quickly that there wasn't much time left on the clock by the time NIP had mounted their retake.
I love the focus on the objective play. I've said this before, quite often we see games of Siege just descending into team deathmatch essentially, and teams are just coming out rushing for the kills and often seem to forget that there is that objective option, and sometimes it really can put the other team on the back foot. I'm just wondering at the minute, Jackie, if they may be rushing in a little bit too quick. Psycho coming in very quickly there, opening double onto Ivan Astro, huge from him, leaves NIP now in a 4 versus 3, and already this is looking difficult for FaZe Clan here to assault onto Blue Bar and Sunrise with that start from Psycho. But just to finish my point, Jackie, I'm wondering if they're just going in for those diffuser plants a little bit too quick and they're not quite set up, and more importantly, they don't have the frags on the board that they need. They're planting against an NIP side that has 4 or 5 men left on the board quite often. You've got players like Muzi, you've got players like Pino still alive, still kicking, and they are kicking back. They're kicking like a mule, and they are coming back and getting those disables in.
Oh, mate. Like a horse kick, straight to the back of the head. You will go flying. You will lose your fillings. Hold on to your fillings then, and we'll see if we can fill you in of how this round is going to go. Kamikaze feels like he really wants to tempt fate there with the shotty lurking by the doorway. Hoping he can actually push out over the threshold, but the time doesn't work well. He switches to the smoke can. The wrong timing, Tim, will come back to haunt him forever now, as he's left immortalized down on the ground. It's up to Pino in a 1 versus 2 to clutch it back out. 60 seconds whilst the diffuser is coming down. He can't get an angle. He can't deny this plant. He's just got to accept it, and they're actually going to get the revive off. Both of them will. Bringing this back into a 2 versus 3. There's a little bit more to do now into the round then for NIP. 34 seconds. Honed in with the ACOG. Seeing if he can spot out anyone. What positions are in play? Where are they? The paranoia that is running through his mind as they slowly clear out towards the cocktail. But you've got players lurking, waiting to bite back the second they get a peek, and Ion will be the one to take the firefight and make it a very pretty sight for FaZe. 2 frags, back to back, drops them down on the ash, cleans up, and somehow, some way, FaZe Clan, they get a round out of nothing. They had no right to that.
FaZe unleashed the ion cannon there, and he comes in with a 4K, completely shutting down the post plant as well. FaZe looking better on that round. NIP, they're going to be kicking themselves. 5 versus 3 very early in that round with a big double to open things up from Psycho, but Ion, he just burst his way in. Look at that shot through to Blue Bar. Absolutely fantastic to take heaps of damage off the man. I think it was Julio who was playing through there and just managed to get the down on him, but unfortunately didn't get that kill. But it was only a matter of time. It was like a boomerang. It came back around to him, and he did ultimately shut the man down and get it on the board. So 2-2 now we find ourselves, and this is as close fought as we expected. Right now, both of these teams are coming in and fighting hard. We're going to see NIP going back to kitchen and service. We saw this in round 2. Diffuser went down very quickly again, Jackie. Another one of those rounds.
Yep.
But NIP, they were able to close it out that time. They managed to get themselves into a man advantage situation again. We had, I think it was Psycho on the Wamai. It will be. He's playing him again here in this round. Just challenged on that service door. Got the last man as it was Muzi going for the disable on the activated diffuser. So great plays from NIP in that round. Can they replicate it here? Can they avoid that quick plant? They was just maybe overlooking Sight a little bit back in round 2 and just allowing FaZe to get in and take advantage of that. And right now, 4 rounds and 4 plants for FaZe Clan. They are playing this objective and they mean business.
They do, Tim. They're coming out trying to give NIP the business. They want none of these shenanigans. They're not interested in the insurance you're trying to sell them. They don't want you coming and knocking on the NIP door, Tim. And for NIP...
No cold callers, Jackie.
Oh, mate, they've got the sign on the front window. It says, you know, no spam mail, no cold callers, no soliciting.
You will be reported to local authorities.
They'll have to send the bobbies round. You don't want that. You don't want the police coming in. It'll be an absolute nightmare. You'll be there all night.
Speaking of all night, it is not going to take all night for us to get a winner here. At the most, it's going to be 4 maps. This is map number 1. If you've joined us since the beginning, that is where we stand at the minute. Map number 1 on coastline right now. NIP, they come into this best of 5 with a 1 map advantage, given that they won their way through the upper bracket. So that is the reward that they are given for that. And right now, FaZe, they are very keenly fighting to try and get themselves leveled out here to take away that advantage. And what a big mental blow that will surely be to NIP if that is removed from them essentially immediately. They've come in with an advantage and then just find themselves with it ripped away from them on the very first map. That will be a massive blow to NIP. So FaZe, they could really put themselves astride towards winning it by getting this one on the board.
Depends how you look at it. They could be content, obviously, if they do drop it out to just try and look forward to the idea of playing it out as a best of 3 from that point forward. But being bested into the round, it will be FaZe Clan that come out on top. They push in. You lose Muzi immediately. Not the worst operator in the world to have going down. It's only a Jaeger. Could have definitely been much worse. And that is going to be the trade back in favor of NIP here. We see Mav overthrown on the sledge as he'll be shattered and dropped down as he hits the DECK, leaving us into a 4 versus 4 with 45 seconds left to work with now in round 5. NIP living their dream. They can just hold angles. They can just wait for you to push in. And FaZe's fast style of play, it's dropped off a little bit. They're now going back into the older style, and oh, that's so unfortunate. Trapped out in the open just as he goes into his ability there. He's going to get spotted out by Pino, and Jackal will be dashed away, left as mere pulp outside. And they've got to recover that diffuser as well, Tim. They need to pick it back up so it wastes so much more time, effectively giving them only 15 seconds for the final convergence on towards the site. There's one choke point they can go through. If they gamble on it, they're going to be coming up against this man. Psycho opens it up with 1. There's a response from Julio, and finally Kamikaze with Big Papa Pump, the shotty, hiding behind the desk. He'll peek up, and it'll only take 1 pump to finish off that man.
Puts him down and puts another round on the scoreboard for NIP. So we find ourselves 3-2 coming into round 6. NIP, if they can pick up this 4th round here on the defense, and get themselves the advantage coming into the second half, that could be absolutely massive for them. But FaZe so far to say that Yuna has had Finker taken away from him. We know that that's his preferred operator. So he can get a huge 4K clutch with the Yuna earlier in the regular season. He's had that taken away from him and still going reasonably well. He's had some important moments. He's contributed. He's got a diffuser plant down, and he is fighting his way into this game. And it doesn't look like that's had too much of an effect so far. And be interesting to see, by contrast, when NIP come onto the attack, if that Dokkaebi removal, which is obviously targeted at their style of play, whether that is going to significantly impact on them, or if they're looking to clear out roamers, whether they'll maybe just bring the Jackal instead, or make room for that Nomad and just go in and use the drones instead.
It is quite scary, obviously, that FaZe, they've had some good plays into this. They've had some solid rounds, and this scoreline could very well be a 3-2 in the opposite direction. There's been the one round, obviously, with the 2 players on the choke point there that was diffused in the end when NIP got on the diffuser with 0.8 seconds left by the end of it. We had the clutch as well that came out from Yuna, where it feels like NIP, they should have won that round. So this has really been close. Although the scoreline looks close, the rounds themselves have been even slimmer in the terms of the margin for error that has caused them to drop them, Tim. And that goes to show that we're really going to have a quality matchup here going forward into not only this map of coastline, but also the entire down best of 5.
Bit of attention being paid from luggage there. Got to be careful of that angle if you're looking to get yourself up onto Aquarium balcony. It's always a hot point for contention there, just getting the view over the balcony, and it is a possibility to make a challenge. We can see here we are playing towards the hooker site, but Muzi have just extended themselves, NIP, sorry, just extended themselves out there into Penthouse Theatre, and this isn't too uncommon because it means you can't push in to VIP, you can't try and get yourself through that side of the map without first clearing this, but that's not going to be a great start with Psycho going off the board to begin with. That's going to be Stim Pistol utility lost as well, and we can see just some late alterations being made to site by the smoke of Kamikaze as well, and right now Muzi, he's just using that deployable shield. He's certainly causing a nuisance. He's got 3 operators helping here. Meanwhile, Pino and Julio, they just come in and start pummeling on those operators. Muzi holds them down. What a beautiful headshot from behind the cabinet through the gap in the shield and the door frame. That is an absolute worldie of a shot from Muzi.
Just the one tap, Tim. Tippy taps coming through from Muzi to land that headshot. Oh, they're quite literally biting the bullet into this round, but it's not going to be good for them. It's shattering their teeth and shattering their hopes and dreams of bringing the scoreline back to a 3-3 split. Instead, it'll be a 4th round grabbed with both hands by NIP at the end of the first half. That Muzi shot, just disgusting.
Absolutely. That's one of the best we've seen so far in the major. We've seen some absolute crackers, but that for me is right up there with them. Hopefully we'll see that one on the replay. If not, I'm sure we'll grab it at some point. It was an absolute classic. I think it's just coming up right now. Let's just watch in and see what we get. Look at this. Absolutely foul, that jacket. Absolutely foul. Zoom right in. Look at this. Absolute pixel. There we go. Pop. Unbelievable.
About 1 frame of reaction there between him popping out and hardly popping out at that as well. You could barely even see him. It would have been the change of about a pixel there as he was sniffing into his monitor, Tim. He's clearly caught whiff of the possibility of bringing them 4-2, and that's why he hit the shot. A beautiful one tap that I'm sure we'll be hearing about and be seeing all over Twitter. As NIP, they're going to want to lord this one over FaZe. It seems like they might be able to crown themselves the winners here on Coastline if they keep this pace up. Tim. It's 4-2. We know what went down in the best of 3 yesterday versus FaZe, so NIP, they've got to be fueled to the brim. They've got to be topped up and ready to dominate here going into their attack.
Through the regular season, FaZe weren't bad defensively on Coastline. We saw them have some reasonable success. Blue Bar and Sunrise unbeaten. Hooker Billiards 66%. Kitchen Service 50%. But those sorts of defensive win rates, they're not going to cut the mustard for them here, I wouldn't have thought. It's going to be tough if you've got a 50-50 site, because that's likely to guarantee NIP at least 1 round, maybe 2, and then you've got a tertiary site, so it's not going to be easier. And if we look at NIP's performance on attack, it's very good generally speaking here on Coastline. FaZe obviously doing worse than they did in the regular season through the majors on this map. They've lost it twice, 7-3 and 7-1, so really not picking up many, if any, defensive rounds in those matchups. So it's going to be a big ask for them now, and NIP, I feel like this is a huge round, Jackie. If NIP come in here and take this first attack onto Hooker and manage to get themselves 5-2, they've just put a massive foot forward in terms of not only getting to a 2-map advantage, but also to taking this overall major win.
Well, it's crazy, right? Because obviously they'd be so deep into this best of 5 if they purely just win this one. Muzi, he does it again. The flicks that come out for him are crazy. I don't know how he does it. He must be breaking his wrist. He's going to have RSI if he carries on playing like this. Flicks through the wall. He did the exact same thing yesterday on Consulate, and he does it again today. You catch a glimpse of a player, he will hone in. He has a 6th sense. He knows exactly where you are. He's like Daredevil, Tim, because he's so damn daring with the plays he brings out.
Well, it's just that ability to predict the movement speed of the player. He's seen him just sort of glance past the door, but he just predicts it beautifully. The game sense is absolutely off the chart to know just whereabouts that player is going to be, how far forward he's going to have moved, and to also hit him at head height. And that just shows how much practice and attention these players put in to things like having the crosshair at head height. And that is exactly the reason why completely deletes Astro there. Beautiful kill from Muzi, and that opens things up for NIP in exactly the fashion that they will have wanted here, and it just starts piling on for them here. This is fuel to the fire right now. Pino taking Ion off the board, one of the best players for FaZe that we've seen through the season and that we've seen so far here in the server on Coastline. 5 versus 3 now. FaZe have shown us previously in previous rounds that they've been able to win from this point, but it ain't looking good right now. Mab will open up with one onto Psycho, so that makes us 3 versus 2 as Yuna fouls on. But here comes the shutdown. We can see Yuna, he's fighting hard, but he was pinched. He had nowhere to go. And NIP, they have got FaZe with their backs to the walls right now, and they are aggressively attacking them.
Trapped between rock and a hard place, and unfortunately for him, the rock and the hard place kept on coming further forward, and someone had decided to give them guns as well, Tim. They put bullets through him, drop him down to the ground, and another round goes the way of NIP, and that's putting them on 5. This is where it really does start to get worrying for FaZe. 5 rounds on the board for NIP. 1 away from, at minimum, a guaranteed OT. Another 1 away from winning the series. And with the shots like this that they've been hitting, as you can see, the reaction time, the fact he was able to flick across, predict where he's going, he's clearly played an awful lot of Space Invaders, Tim. He knew how to counter that.
Oh yeah, maybe 10-15 hours in Siege. That's your Space Invader time right there. He knew exactly where he was going. He just predicted that movement and bang, off came the head. Beautiful kill for Muzi. Joking aside, that was something special. Really, really fantastic. And just powered. It's those sorts of kills that really power you into the round, because Muzi's going to be absolutely buzzing on the back of that. Well, I mean, I'm thinking of that, but then I think of the interviews we've had and how chill everybody is. And I'm thinking, you know, it's probably just another day at the office, isn't it? It's probably just like, oh, got Astro.
Oh, mate.
You'd be
he won't be
peeling me off
breaking
the
a sweat,
ceiling
will
there.
he? Like, honestly, he wouldn't even have broken a sweat. There would have been no reaction. He would have been calm, cool, and collected, and just sat there like a cucumber, just nice and cold on the inside.
Right now, it's FaZe that are being left cold on the inside. There is absolutely no fire, no heat coming out of them here on Coastline whatsoever. The most heat they're getting, Jackie, is the weather right now, because they are not bringing any fire to this matchup. They are being dispatched at the moment. NIP are right on top of things, and this is just picking up. The scary thing is, the really scary thing, and this is not something that I want to see, and I'm sure you don't either, Jackie, is this is picking up exactly where it left off yesterday between NIP and FaZe. And if that continues, we are going to be on and off this game in a short fashion. And we never like to see teams come in and just get rolled over, especially not in a grand final like this. We want to see this go all the way. Personally, I want round 15 of map 4. I want this to the absolute max. But right now, it just doesn't look like FaZe have got the fight against NIP.
No, it already feels like they're struggling a little bit. There was some good adaptation that came out in terms of their opening attack rounds, but they got a bit overzealous into a few of them. Mistakes started to come out, and now the mistakes are costing them direly the longer this one goes on, as it's a 5-2 split on the scoreline. NIP, you're on your attack, you won your initial attack, and you're going to win another opening duel. The opening duels that are so vital as well. If you're being able to find these initial entry frags to put yourself into a 5 versus 4 nearly every round, it is going to make it so hard for FaZe Clan to get any momentum to come back into the series, and losing out on your Vigil immediately, that's going to hurt.
Really is. It is not the ideal start here. Especially with the Vigil, he's just such a great time-wasting operator, and if anything, that's what we've seen NIP struggle with on the attack. His time is getting into executing positions on time with enough seconds left on the clock to do something about it. So the Vigil could have been the perfect complement to that for FaZe, to just really burn as much time as possible. And there we go, in comes the down from Muzi. He knew Yuna was there, he had him locked down, and I'm not sure about that peak from Yuna. There comes a point, that's not a massive criticism, there comes a point as a team where you have to try and make something happen. As I've said, they've got to try and bring some thunder, some fight into this, and that's what you're trying to do there. He's thinking, I'm going to take the peak and I'm going to try and shut this guy down, but unfortunately that guy that you're up against is Muzi, and right now Muzi could be hitting shots with his eyes shut, Jackie. He is on fire, he is absolutely electric today.
And the electricity isn't going to die down either. The tempo keeps on rolling. He doesn't need his batteries replaced. But it feels like maybe FaZe Clan will. And maybe they just have Tim. They're back online. They've got their boombox working once again. And they are screaming and shouting into round 8. 10 seconds left. 2 versus 2. Make that a 2-on-1. 1-on-1 even. As Matt as well has been overthrown and live. He swings round the corner. He was able to get the snapshot onto Julio and gun him down, then runs round, takes the secondary peek, and the smoke will smoke them both with the SMG. Handy with his steal as he keeps FaZe Clan in it to win it, not giving away that 6th round to NIP, not putting them on match point, keeping the game in check for at least another round here minimum. 5-3 now, Tim.
Very important. I feel like we need to see the comeback come out from FaZe early enough. We don't want them leaving it too late. And once a team gets onto 6, you always feel that that is the point, that it's too late. And I know they can fight back to overtime, but mentally, it just feels like it's a real breaking point when they get to that match point. So FaZe, they need to fight themselves back into this. They could do with another 1, another 2. If NIP at that point go on to 6, it's not the end of the world. 6-5 you can live with. It's 1 round you've got to pick up. But if they get it here in this round, for example, you've then got 3 that you've got to fight against. You've lost 2 defenses already. So you start wondering where those wins are going to come from. Where are the rounds going to turn up? But right now, we're going to be back into Hooker, which is the round that we saw NIP win back in round number 7 on the attack. Did very well, Muzi opening up. It was the now almost infamous kill through VIP wall. I'm sure you'll be seeing that plenty more times, be it on the socials, be it here if we get a chance to replay that for you. I'm sure that we will do. It was an absolute beauty. So it opened up with Muzi there onto Astro, and it just fell apart one piece at a time from there. Yuna made a really good fight of it towards the end, but he found himself just outnumbered, basically. Outnumbered and outgunned. He was 1 versus 3, pinched on either side, and just really struggled. He managed to fight his way back to 1v2, but that was all he could do. So FaZe, they need to be picking themselves up a couple of kills here. They can't allow NIP to get themselves into those 5v2, 4v2 situations. It is going to be difficult.
2 minutes and 35 seconds. 5 players alive on either side, but one of them tagged and now one of them dead. As we will see Muzi fragged out by Ion. The Ion Cannon himself charging back up after he pops off to claim the first blood, spilling the guts of Muzi and showing that there is clearly some guts and hearty plays left in FaZe Clan. Confidence absolutely metro booming with the way they're approaching it back into this map. They've been hitting their shots, they've been playing with balls into a lot of the peaks, and now on their defense, can they be divas? Can they kick up enough of a fuss to stop NIP from getting to 6, to mount their comeback, bring it to 5-4? At that point, what's to say they can't go 5-5? And then maybe they can make the first move towards getting that 6th round picked up. In terms of bullets, though, you would have thought it would have been the man upside down repelling for the victorious frag, but it's not going to be. It's a glorious round that comes out from FaZe Clan. Flawless to boot as well. Oh, Tim, the reaction shots coming out there are just deadly, and as soon as they instigate the fight, they run away with it.
Great round for FaZe, and exactly what better time to have a flawless round. They get themselves back within 1. They're going to be heading down to Kitchen that we haven't seen them defend so far today. It was the worst site here on Coastline during the regular season as well. So this round is not going to be easy, and I feel like it could be the making or breaking of FaZe. If they struggle here, they've then got to make no more mistakes. They've got to come through. They've got to fight all the way back into it to even get overtime. So it's not going to be easy. So right now, they're going to have to overcome the odds here. They're going to have to find a win on Kitchen. And it's not been forthcoming through the season so far.
God damn, Tim. The game looked like it was done, to be honest with you. It felt like NIP were coming back out on the major form that we've seen all the way through the 6 major here without the BR6 madness. And now they've slowed down a little bit. Take a deep breath. Reset. If you're a FaZe Clan fan, you can unclench for now, as they're 1 round away from shutting this back to a 5-5. At that point, the scoreline's tied, and there's a lot more momentum to go. I just feel like we have to strap into him and just go along for the ride here because it's going to be carnage. If they can bring it back, we're probably looking at an overtime scenario. I feel like if it goes 5-5 at that point, we might as well. This is going to go the whole way because NIP, they're not going to be content with losing this one on Coastline to open it up and drop that advantage that they fought hard for, winning all of their upper bracket games to make sure that they come into this grand final with that one map advantage.
I'd completely agree with you. I think, yes, if FaZe have that sort of momentum and they get 3 in the books, I think it's going to be tough for NIP to come out and then just swing it around and win 2 in a row. As we know from LATAM, you never know what you're going to get, and it's, you know, don't be surprised. Always expect the unexpected here in Brazil, but FaZe, this is an important round. As I've said, the stats do not sit with them on this site. 50-50 at best, generally speaking, and they've obviously lost it a couple of times throughout the major as well, so they're going to have to bring something different. And I think the best thing for FaZe right now is a couple of early kills, because the players, they're going to know in their mind that this isn't their best site, and they're going to know that this is going to be a struggle. So if they can at least get themselves that early man advantage, it could be massive for them. Shots just rain in the direction of Pino, but none will connect. I think probably just a little bit of information telling the defenders that he's there, so they have a little wild spray, but it will not connect on this one. Astro, he's just going to hold upstairs with Ion. This is basically preventing the VIP control at the minute so that the vertical angles can't be used into sight by NIP.
Muzi, basically the wolf of NIP, the big bad wolf that wants to bust out floors and cut way through anyone on FaZe and leave them without a returning opportunity into the game. And FaZe, they lose the first frag once again. Opening duel does go the way of NIP, but not from Muzi this time. Oh, a little bit of a change coming out as Psycho's the one doing the damage. Backstab comes out easily enough there onto Astro. There was no opportunity for the Jaeger to switch around and really bite back to keep himself alive. Instead, it just drops down into a horrendous little position for FaZe Clan. One where if they were going to contest to bring it back 5-5, that dream's gone out the window, as they're now in a 3 versus 5. Smoke's still got all of his cans at least, all 3 of them, waiting around the utility belt for an opportunity to dash them out, but he goes for something a little bit bold. Tim runs over the threshold, peeking out through the doorway, and has bullets dashed at his lips, bringing him down to about 60 HP and leaving us in this spot. 3 players alive for FaZe, 5 on the board still for NIP. With 35 seconds, they tend to execute in the late round around 25, and they should have a field day of it. It should be uncontested.
Mav's got himself locked in behind that reception desk. Could be an important position. Watch for him in the late round. If NIP have to try and force a plant through this service door, he could well pop out of main door and really wreak some havoc. That's exactly what he tries, I think, there, but will be shut down by Psycho. NIP will come in with Muzi on a double kill to finish off round 10. That is going to put them on match point. It was there. He was just trying to challenge on the man outside. Great teamwork as the drop comes in behind him, and the challenge onto Mav from both sides turns out to just be a challenge too far for him. So NIP, they will get themselves onto 6-4 here, and they are looking to take a commanding lead here in the LATAM major.
Yeah, a desperation play, obviously just waiting on the doorway with the shotty, hoping to try and shoot him whilst he pushes you, but the right-hand peek favouring him there. It's going to be a little bit easier. You'll spot him out sooner. Just play with confidence. That's why we say sometimes into those rounds, you need to just swing with a force of 10 men and just go for it. Go for the confidence ball, and the confidence ball will pay off. And clearly, they are dripping confidence, Tim. You could take a butter knife and scrape it off of NIP at this point, as they've got 6 rounds.
Really cool. You get one of them fancy curls, you know, when you get like a curl of butter.
Oh, yeah.
Could get ourselves a little curl of confidence coming off NIP.
You'd be able to sell it, mate. It'd be like Gamer Bathwater, but just NIP confidence. Sell that. That'd make millions.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, if you could box that, the marketing does itself.
Yeah. That's what we need to get Paolo to look into, honestly. If he could sell whatever it is that makes him so damn good.
Just bottle it right now.
Yeah. Just the air he breathes. That's what I need.
You're just bottling Elo at that point.
Oh, mate, there you go. That's the name of the product. Bottled Elo.
Straight facts. Sells itself.
Straight facts. Honestly, it really does. And the game itself at this point, Tim, it seems to be writing itself in the storyline of it, because NIP, they are 1 round away from a second map. They already have a 1 map advantage, of course, and If they get themselves the win here on Coastline, it means that effectively they need to win one more. Only one map, and they will win the major. They will snatch the crown for whoever thinks have it and walk away with that big championship belt under their name, Tim. They'll get the 50k, they'll get the SI points, and they'll get the pride, the gift of the gab to be able to say that we are the best team in Brazil by far.
That's what it's all about at this point. We're coming into a new format and having those bragging rights, having that sort of mental advantage coming into stage 2 as well could well be very important. You know, it's a new format and you've come in and just asserted dominance immediately, and it's perfectly timed for NIP as well. Not just on a regional basis, but on a worldwide basis, coming in as the runner-up at Six Invitational grand finalists, and then struggling through the regular season. That doesn't really send enough of a message for me, Jackie. Whereas if you come out and win the major on the back of that, that is message sent, delivered, and received at that point.
Oh, yeah. You would be ghosted. They would read that message, but they really would not want to reply. Everyone would just be far too shocked. They'd be sat there with their mouths wide open. And talking of mouths wide open, it seems like Moosey's mouth might have been left open off the back of it being blown off. The nitro comes out and detonates, and this is way better from FaZe. They've stepped up, they turned up the tempo, but there is a little bit of a response. NIP, you can push them into a corner, but they're still going to be barking. They're still going to be snarling. And as the spit starts to drip, so do bullets coming out at the end of the gun there for Kamikaze, and he'll dash his way through Mav, leaving us here in a 2 versus 4. 1 minute and 12 seconds on the clock. NIP, they take this round, they take the map. FaZe Clan, they take it, they keep themselves in the running to potentially push us to an overtime scenario. There's no reason to overreact for FaZe. All they have to do is turtle and hold their crossfires. Don't give any unnecessary frags away. Don't give up those 1v1 firefights. And if you are going to, at least make sure you win them. And that's what Live will do, as he renames Kamikaze as just dead, as he's down on the ground. Playing towards the doorway will find one, but the response is there. Yuna trading it out with a big shotty, a signature move from the mute, as he will mute NIP's chance of winning this round.
We're going all the way to 12, Jackie. We could not have asked for better. This one, it would not surprise me at all to see overtime here on map 1. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see overtime on map 2, 3, and 4 as well. But right now, Coastline is the focus. 6-5 it stands on that scoreboard. NIP, you will have one more opportunity to get this over the line in regulation time. They could do with doing it, because the way FaZe have been fighting back, you can just see if they get themselves into overtime, it's going to be that extra boost, that extra shot of confidence that they need. And it might just be everything they need to get them over the line here. And coming in, we're going to have a little bit of a change. Coming for NIP, we're going to be bringing the Capitao this time around. So obviously recognizing maybe a problem they've been having, maybe a tough position that they've not been able to clear out. They're going to be attacking onto Hooker and Billiards. Of course, that smoke utility can be very useful. We saw Live back in round 1 use it extremely well. Just smoked off from the A-bomb down to the double window at the bottom and able to get that diffuser down behind the pool table. So might be something that NIP tried to do themselves here.
6-5. One round is all that stands between a 2-0 map scoreline, championship scoreline, championship Sunday scoreline against FaZe, or FaZe Clan coming back in, tying it up 6-6 and putting a nice little bow on it as we ship it off to an overtime situation. At that point, they will still have the possibility of winning on Coastline and closing it back out into a more reasonable position of a 1-to-1 map split. But of course, that means that they need to carry on, Tim, from where they left off into the prior round, slaying, fragging, doing deadly, deadly things with the firearms, and I'm sure right now their palms are going to be sweating, knees weak, and let's see if they'll be able to go home in time to do some damage here as we're back into the round. 2 minutes and 30 on the clock. FaZe just lurking, opening up some of the windows, sending in the drones as well for the information plays. We see the bait shots also coming out. Julia responding in kind. They're just looking for any information, but that's not the sort of information you want if you're on NIP. The nitro going flying through the window, and the C4 will land on the door, and Pino, he's not going to be breathing no more.
The knees are weak and the arms are heavy, Jackie. You are exactly right, as that nitro is tossed out and does the business Pino, he will be off the board. 5 versus 4. We can see narrow angles being used by Giulio on the Capitao there, just using the asphyxiation arrow to try and force the man out of the corner, and will eventually. Sometimes you just got to hold mouse one, Jackie.
Yeah.
Just keep fighting. If you fire enough bullets, one of them's going to land, surely. That's exactly what happens there. Yuna will be dispatched on the mute, so we find ourselves 4 versus 4. 1 minute 30, and I'm not calling it too soon yet, but NIP do need to be aware of the clock. It's something we've seen them struggle with, but they are making good progress here. Ooh, that's not ideal, though, as the X-Karos pellets just get picked up from inside of sight. They were trying to prevent the peak coming out from the corridor through the door there, but Live, he will leave that reinforcement in place. They've managed to get some holes open up on the opposite side, the right-hand side of the door there, so that will at least give some lines of sight towards the double door leading into billiards. But right now, 1 minute left to go. NIP just feel like they're stalling out a little bit in round 12.
They're playing slow. They're waiting for another peak because they don't want to throw away the advantage, and the trade frags do come in. As soon as it kicks off once again, it then leaves us back in a lull immediately afterwards. Now, this is where it's up to Muzi to really cause a massacre off the back of his rotation. He's on the roam, the backstabber himself, but will his blade be shot? Muzi with a flick, the headshot onto Live, beheading him and potentially stunning the competition. It's a 2 versus 2. Psycho alongside Muzi. Psycho's down as he's going to be cleaned up. Ion on the org will fire flick to keep them into the game. Muzi's got to clutch it. 1v1 to decide whether or not NIP will win on Coastline or if we are going to overtime. 13 frags. Will he get himself to 14? Throws out his utility. Dancing his way back across. He's got to recover that diffuser, and he will have to plant immediately. You have no time to waste. If the peak comes out from Mav, he can end it. Ideally, he needs to stick this. If he comes off Tim, he is lost, but he goes for the bait play. Muzi swings wide. I tell you what, Tim, he is going to fake. The Mad Lad's done it. As Ash, he'll swing out, pick him off, and shut down the map, taking it 2-0 so far in the grand final. He might be a skilled player, Tim, but that is not normally. That is very, very insane.
Oh boy. There's one big caveat to pros don't fake, Jackie, and that is that these players will always find a way to win. A player like Muzi, he doesn't mind coming off that diffuser if he knows that he can make that challenge, and that is exactly what he did there. Confidence coming forward. No surprise from Muzi. He's just been so good throughout that game. We've seen some fantastic stepped up when NIP needed him, and they get number 2 on the board now. So best of 5, and they find themselves 2-0 up. Don't worry, you've not missed a map. If you've just joined us, there's only been one NIP. They had a head start coming in because of the upper bracket win, but it's looking like a good day for them at this point. But FaZe have put up a great fight there. We've got a hell of a match on our hands.
We do indeed, Tim. We have a hell of a best of 5. And, oh, we're talking about heart attacks. I can feel my heart pounding, Tim, off the back of that play. He's done it once before as well. We've seen it so many times where he'll drop that diffuser down, time it perfectly to trick the other player into believing it's going to be the full stick. He'll come off and he will swing. And with the strength of 1,000 men, he peeks out and he shuts it down. Disgusting. Plays the whole through the grand final so far from Muzi, and of course that is just one map of many. However, it might be over sooner rather than later if NIP can pick up the next map. That's what it comes down to. Join us for that. We'll be going back in after the break to see if NIP are going to be crowned the champions or if FaZe can fight back. Hello, everyone. Just take a minute. Deep breath. Try and compose yourself. Try and keep yourself at least somewhat here. Don't die from the carnage that we've seen, because this has been wild already. Muzi, the clutch of a lifetime, Tim. Some of the shots he was hitting throughout that series were stunning, but the final round top trumps everything.
It's been the Moosey show so far. That's the reality. Is it the Moosey show? Is it the Moosey Major? That is what we are looking at right now. He has been an absolute demon in the server so far. We can just see, it's just a highlight reel of Moosey at the minute.
It is, yeah.
He's just been absolutely dominant throughout that one, hitting unbelievable shots when his team needed him. And the thing is, it was 7-5, Jackie, so you really feel like without that performance, without Moosey stepping up and having those hero plays, maybe NIP don't get that one.
Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. And that would mean that we're potentially still either going into an overtime or we're going back into even more rounds. We're potentially FaZe Clan being able to pick it up, and then it would have been 1-1 on the split. But that's done. History can't be rewritten, Tim. We've got to roll with the punches we've been given. And that means that NIP now have 2 maps. Coming into it, they had the 1 map advantage from the upper bracket here in the major. They now have taken another advantage, one off the skin of their own back, winning on Coastline. Going forward, I am terrified for FaZe, Tim. Think about the amount of pressure that's on them. Their major run could be over in a matter of minutes here in this best of 5.
Certainly could, and do we think that's going to happen? I'm not convinced because, Jackie, map 2, we're heading into Oregon, and this is a map that NIP have now famously struggled on throughout the regular season. We have rarely seen a positive performance from them here, and FaZe, they have to come in strong here. Obviously, there is absolutely no choice. But what I mean by that is they don't want to be winning this 7-5. They don't want to be taking this all the way to 12 rounds. They need to come out and just dominate NIP here and just try and break the spirit a little bit.
God damn. Whew, Oregon. All right. You know, we've left Ibiza, Tim. We've boarded ourselves a nice flight all the way over to the US of A, and we're going to be coming in with some banging gameplay here on Oregon. FaZe Clan, you got to step up now or forever hold your peace in the series. If you concede this map, you concede the major. You give the crown to NIP, and they will come away as the best in Brazil off the back of stage 1 of the BR6 at the 6 major here for LATAM, Tim. It's all to play for. It's all on the line. NIP on defense to start off with as well. Could we have even scripted this one to be better for them?
What a set of bans we've got there. Thatcher, Ying, Clash, and Jaeger. Now, Ying, we've seen used sort of sparingly throughout LATAM so far, but sometimes very effectively. And she has been one of the operators that has been picked up here reasonably regularly, if anywhere, on Oregon. So no huge surprise to see Ying taken off the board, but Jaeger will go as well. So we are certainly going to have some interesting rounds ahead of us because without, Wamai is going to be 100% pick rate now without Jaeger on the board. But obviously, I've said this before, and we never really see teams that play as aggressively as I'd like to see without Jaeger on the board. And the reason that I say that is obviously Wamai is very limited at the beginning of the round as to how much impact he can have on throwable utility. He's only got, I think, 3 of the magnets by the end of the prep phase. He can have them out there or, into the early action phase. So that's only 3 throwables, where by contrast, with the 3 ADSs, you can have 6 throwables taken out from the very beginning of the round. So it's half as effective. So if you were to rush site at that point, if you were to just get in there and really rain through those utilities, get the frag grenades in there, you could find a massive advantage for yourself. And we've never really seen anybody play with that style against the Jaeger ban yet. So I, for one, I'd love to see it.
Oh, mate, it would be spicy. It'd be cut from a different cloth than what we're used to. And you know what? I'd really be invested in hoping maybe we get some signs of that going down throughout this map. A map that could potentially be the end of the storyline for FaZe Clan in the major. And that is a very, very big deal. As this major is wildly important in the grand scheme of things, especially just in the tournament circuit as well, when we look further forward off the back of it, of coming into side if you want to get yourself some of those qualification points. And live, he's taken a point straight to the face, a pointed bullet, a hollow tip to knock him down to the ground. He's been revived and tries to skedaddle his way out of there. He'll run with his tail between his legs, Tim, and at least be able to rappel up the building to stay alive. But it's a lot of damage done early on. It won't be a frag, but it is quite a big tag that could haunt FaZe later on into the opening round here on Oregon.
Pino, once again, just that early aggression in rounds. We've seen it throughout the season. He was, I think, leading on entry. 42 and 24 he went through the regular season, plus 18 overall. Absolutely unbelievable at powering his team into rounds with kills, and he very nearly does it again there with the shots onto live. But right now, the pressure is mounting from FaZe Clan onto those rear stage stairs. We can see the Monty starting to move down. Now, he does have the shotgun of Kamikaze right in his face, which is also going to mean the Toxic Babe canisters will be there as well. So the Monty can be pushed back if Una gets a bit excitable and tries to push too far forward. We can see Astro's just looking to apply some air jabs as well there, I think, just to cut down on any potential flanks. We don't have anybody that is out on the roam at the minute for NIP. They are all in sight. They're going to be playing this as a turtle defense, and with 1 minute 15 left to go, there's a lot of pressure yet to be absorbed for these defenders.
A lot of pressure on the round as a whole, and especially on the map, and there is a fair amount of pressure also just on Muzi specifically to try and defend towards this angle, supported at least with a triple threat of defenders lying in wait and just sitting pretty for the push to come in. That's the scary factor, Tim, because we're late into the round. FaZe doing their best NIP impression with the way they're playing it. They're going to be going in for a last-minute execution. We've seen 2 of the smoke cans go out, I believe. We don't have any Wamai magnets remaining right now as well, so they are going to be a bit of a hindrance when push comes to shove, unless they hit their shots, especially when Oryx is able to reposition like this. Maybe this will be the first time we'll actually see him dash into a shield and go for something crazy, or instead he'll just use his firepower and go for the swing like a metronome. They come in from either side with the left and right hooks, hitting FaZe and dropping them down into 3 players alive. All of them taking some heavy hits though, but the Nomad finds the flick, Tim. A beautiful response there with a rifle, and she runs rampant, switches to the pistol but can't punish Pino, as Pino will pick up the round for NIP. Denies it for FaZe. No opener, although it was very close.
Astro just seemed to be one step ahead of everybody there, didn't he? He moved into that default plant spot inside of storage, and they were just completely unaware that he was there, and every time the comms went out, they were looking to challenge somewhere else. As Pino moved to challenge that spot, Astro was already bursting out of the double door into the corridor, gets himself a kill there, ultimately brought down by, I think it was the Vigil in the laundry site, but it was touch and go. Astro just seemed to be here with the start of it there. You can just see, completely unaware of the man, comes out, gets Pino, and then moves in looking for a third as well. He was just always half a second to a second ahead of that round. He was almost playing in the future.
God, I'm talking of the future, Tim. For me, this whole day has felt more like the past. It feels like we're just reliving the series from yesterday. It feels like we're in the best of 3 once again. Even the clutches, even the flicks, just the shots in general that have been coming out from the monster that is Muzi have almost felt like we're just trapped in some kind of Groundhog Day, and we're reliving the same series because NIP, they're literally going for the same plays just on different maps, and it's working for them. It is madness how cinematic this has looked. You could make a frag movie based off of this team's tournament run, and I swear it would do very well. 5 stars on IMDb.
As we've said coming into it, they've just hit form at the right time, Jackie, and that's what it's all about. You know, Team Liquid had such a strong mid-season, for example. They were just absolutely unbeatable, but then they just took those couple of difficult results at the end there, and you think maybe that's impacted on them coming into the major, and they've just not carried that same momentum that we saw from them throughout the season, whereas NIP, slow burners all the way through, getting draw after draw. We kept questioning whether they were even going to end up making it to the major, Jackie. They were in 4th place for so long, and then right there in the last couple of weeks, big results, big shots coming out onto Ion there from Pino. He's getting cheeky now on the entry. He's just looking for that aggression, looking to get right up in the face of the attackers there, just not letting them settle into the round at all, and you can see the impact that it has there. Ion, he's now just extra cautious, and it wastes time, lots of precious time.
Keeping those time vials dropping down bit by bit, grain of sand by grain of sand, to run this game down to the bare minimum. Leave it on the wire. But I'm absolutely living for the confidence that is coming through from NIP. At least they're still being able to go for these ridiculous plays. They've clearly drunken another bottle of that liquid elo, and it's left them fueled up going into this firefight here on Oregon. For FaZe, can they have a gulp? Can they have a bottle of their own and come back through, or will they just be bottling another round here, Tim, and conceding a second already on Oregon?
Una getting well established in attic with the Montagne now. Unusual use of the Monty here on dorms. Usually we would see them pushing up through Armory Corridor and into that Trophy and Master area to try and gain information and also protect a potential plant going down. But this time around they have gone for attic and right now find themselves with a bit of a problem. Forced deeper into the attic room there. There is a goo mine in the leg of Una that is just eating health away from him. There was nothing he could do. He couldn't drop the shield because he was being challenged. Babe canisters used perfectly there by Kamikaze, but loses his life just before he gets the kill. We find ourselves 4 versus 4, but a huge tool at the disposal of FaZe in that portable shield has been taken out, and the diffuser right now is not in hand either.
This is worrying. A lot of points here leading to this potentially being a round for NIP, a second on the board. The rise of the automatons as the drones will roll in and start relaying information back over to FaZe, but it's not about the info anymore. That's not the commodity you need. The commodity you want is to get the diffuser down and find frags, be able to up the body count and drop their numbers down. Talking of which, diffuser goes down, 40 seconds on the clock, and it will start to tick by. 4 versus 4. Sustainability is the big question mark for FaZe, though, as 2 of them are low. Both Ion and Mav. They have to play off angles effectively and hit their shots once the push comes across. Ion, he'll go for the swing, but Astro will hit the shot quicker as Muzi's been overthrown and massacred. There's a follow-up as well onto Julio that's going to be down in the dumps. Pino's the only one that turns up to the party, but can he pop his way towards the top? A 1 versus 2 to clutch it out, cleans up, switches to the Deagle, but no dominance coming through from the sidearm as he'll be sacked in the face by Live and left dead as a doorknob on the deck.
Astro gone huge there in the post plant, getting a double for FaZe and just really helping to tick by 30 seconds of that diffuser timer and just leave NIP with little room and little time to make any impact on round number 2. Great plays from FaZe. They recovered well after losing Una on the Montagne, still managing to collect that diffuser and get it down on the ground and activated as well. So great play from them.
And this was the opening kill of the round, of course, back at 1 minute and 10 seconds, effectively. We saw the smoke cans coming through and just killing off the Monty, something that's happened many, many a times throughout the major. Monty's just getting completely cancelled out by the smokes because there's not much you can do. It's the one real gadget that will just completely overthrow you because you have to sit there and inhale that particle. If you do, it's going to kill you over time, or if you drop your shield to try and reposition, the bullets will do the job even faster.
Round number 3 we come into, and NIP will be trying to hold down dorms once again, and I imagine the method will be fairly similar. They're going to have Muzi with those magnets trying to hold down the attic as best as possible, but I'm not sure how much of an answer they've got to the Monty pushing in. Now, they dealt with it very well last time around by having those Legion goo mines. That's an operator they've chosen not to bring with them this time, so interestingly, it will allow a little bit more free real estate for the Monty potentially, but I think we might see something different come out of FaZe this time. I commented last time around that generally speaking, you will see the Montagne push in through the Armory side and try to challenge in towards the Trophy and the Master area. So I would expect to see that play rather than pushing through attic again. It wasn't overly successful. It was dealt with very well by NIP, and I just feel like FaZe don't get carried away with rinsing and repeating. The attack worked well and you got the diffuser down on the ground, but NIP, they will adapt quickly. There is absolutely no question of that.
They're like a machine learning AI, Tim. The more info you feed them, the more they know how to read you. And reading you like a book is exactly what Pino is going to do, as he will break the back of Astro on the face. The Nomad, more like no way, no chance there for FaZe on the opening pick, Tim.
And that's why I love Valkyrie. She's, you know, there's discussions about how powerful she is an operator, and she is very powerful for that exact reason. That's why we see her banned out quite a lot. But when she works on her own as like a lone ranger like that, just using her own cams, preparing those jump outs, and then bang, out she goes. It's, yes, you can have that information fed to you by a teammate, but there is no substitute for seeing that with your own eyes and knowing exactly where that Nomad is going to be when you go out of that window. And that is exactly what Pino has just benefited from there. And that was beautiful. That was something special to see. I love those kills.
It's because she's just so self-sustainable. A kit just promotes that sort of play where if you're the type of player that really is trusty with your aim and knows that you can hit your shots, you want to pick that Valkyrie and do some disgusting things. And that's what she's done. Opens it up and setting this round up for victory as immediately NIP have got themselves a 5 versus 4 round from the opening pick. But for FaZe, they're still approaching it with the same slow style of Siege. They're not overcommitting, they're not charging straight in, they need to group up and effectively Wolfpack Ion behind Yuna, take down the other wall so you can go for a 3-pronged attack on your final execution out. But there's still utility left for Nip. Smoke in play, obviously, of Kamikaze Tim. He's going to dash out that can. If you want to try and bypass him, you're not going to have an easy time. Still inhale those particles and you will go down. So when push finally comes to shove, everything has to be perfect. Repel your way in, looking like the SAS and leave them stunned on the ground. First frag is found though from Live for the opening pick on the Kamikaze. Psycho trapped in an awkward spot, trying to make the best of a bad situation, and timing doesn't work out well there for the Thermite. He had his utility in his hands, chucking out the nades who will run in unarmed, and now they've disarmed FaZe, Tim. This should be a second round picked up for Nip as it's all on one man. And of course, the Nitro coming across. It won't be Julio making good on his promise, but it will be Pino punishing with a C4 from underneath.
Big round from Pino this time, and it is him stepping up on Oregon where it was Muzi on coastline. And Pino, nice little jump out to start things and a nice little nitro to finish them. Perfect double to bookend that round, and that will be another one on the board for NIP. So they go to 2-1 now, and they could be slowly creeping their way towards winning this LATAM major. Let's not forget they are 2 maps to 0 here in a best of 5. They came in with a 1-map advantage coming through the upper bracket, and they managed to get the win on coastline. It was hard fought, 7-5 to NIP, being stretched all the way to 12 rounds, and FaZe mounting a reasonable comeback. I think it was 6-4, it was 5-3 at one point, and they managed to fight their way back into it massively. But right now, NIP, they've just fought hard to claim domes there. That was not an easy one for them. We saw them lose it back in round 2, and it's going to lead them back down to Laundry. And I sort of get the feeling, Jackie, that having lost once in dorms won't necessarily be the end of the world for them, because it means they're only going to have to play a tertiary site once. They can go back to Laundry now, then they'll play an off-site if they win here, and then it's back to dorms, which is a primary or secondary site generally for most teams. So I don't think it's necessarily the end of the world for them.
No, it's not over. But they do need to get themselves out of the woods, because right now they're deep in the Forbidden Forest and it's not looking good. It's starting to turn to night. Things are looking quite scary, Tim. There's spiders out there and all sorts of shenanigans. So quickly make your move back to Hogwarts, and let's see if this game is going to keep on giving us the magic that is coming out from NIP, because they've been looking like wizards into the opening moments, Tim. In the opening frags, they've been the ones making FaZe Clan disappear, but not with magic and wands, just with firearms and rounds.
It's the centaurs you've got to worry about for me, Jackie. Very unpredictable mythological creature.
You never know. They might get scared. Yeah, they can get a little bit spooked, Tim, and you've got to think how big their hooves are. You take one of those to the back of the head, you won't be getting up.
Oh, sizable. Absolutely no question about it. And very intelligent creatures as well. And right now, NIP, if they can get this round on the board, you sort of start feeling like FaZe might be broken. They might just get run over, as if they might buy a herd of Centaur, as we found Psycho just looking to challenge on. Live will open Julio up to begin with. Pino once again stepping into the breach with a kill onto Yuna, traded out though, and we just see kills raining backwards and forwards here. But always, as always in the war of attrition, NIP just seem to keep themselves level, never overridden, never overtaken. They always seem to keep themselves in these difficult rounds.
The trade game they've been playing, they're very effective at it. They know when they need to swing. They're good on the buddy system. If you get a pick, they will swing back out and they will fight tooth and nail to make sure they trade the frag as quickly as possible. But for Psycho, the man was trying to go on the roam, looking for a backstab. He would have been licking his lips with his Marauders map open. But unfortunately, he's been spotted. Mischief managed so far for FaZe Clan into the round team, but with a minute and 15 seconds left, there's still a lot of time for the turmoil to come through on the push towards the stairway.
At this rate, Jackie FaZe Clan are going to be left wishing they had a time turner in hand so that they could just turn back the clock on this one and try to get themselves something out of this round. They were 3-all, and right now they are 3 versus 1 and struggling. They have got it a lot to do and will only manage one of the 3 there. Live shut down by Kamikaze, another round on the board for NIP. Let's not get carried away too soon. This is the defensive side. NIP have struggled overall on Oregon, particularly on the attack. Very, very much so in terms of getting that diffuser down or having time for that final execute. We've seen them burn the clock all the way down to that last 10 seconds and then just have to go headlong into those bloodbaths through single doors. And that's not something they can allow to happen this time round on Oregon, but they're doing everything they need to right now. They're giving themselves every advantage possible before they come into that difficult attacking half.
And this is really scary. This is a horrendous spot to be in for FaZe Clan. They need to get more rounds. They need a buffer at minimum. It's not even a matter of ifs and buts. It is a fact that they need to get more here into this game. It's a 3-1 split on the rounds. They haven't been able to actually find themselves getting their foot down and sprinting in the right direction. NIP building a gigantic mountain of rounds on their defense, and then of course they'll be switched over to their attack. And with the quality of siege we've had coming out from them, the shots that they're hitting, the fact that it feels like everyone on that team is firing at all cylinders, Tim, it's still going to be hard for FaZe. It's not as if it'll get easier just because they're then popped on the defense.
That's the problem at the minute. We've seen Muzi go off on coastline. He's been a little bit quiet here. He's 3-2 so far, but Pino and Psycho particularly both stepping up. 11 kills between the two of them. But you just get that feeling that right now Muzi's probably not going off because he's been playing Wamai, he's been playing in and around site, and Pino and Psycho are going and getting the kills. So, you know, there's only so many to go around, but I can't see that Muzi's going to have calmed down much off the back of that coastline. He's not all of a sudden now going to be coming in here cold. So get him onto the attack, put that ash in his hands potentially. Could be, as you like to say, Jackie, G36, see you later.
Oh man, there's going to be so much coming out into this matchup here into round 5. A lot riding on it for FaZe. Effectively, in my book, this feels like a do-or-die round, and they really do not want to be choosing the latter option. It's not going to be ideal if you get popped into that internal slumber, as we do see them pushing their way through, looking to go up against the slumber party punishers in the ninjas in pajamas as they sit lurking. Crossfire set up towards the backstage, waiting for the stairway push to come in, and this is giving me flashbacks of what we've seen throughout the regular season, Tim. I am terrified for FaZe when push comes to shove on this encounter, because it's been very awkward for them previously, and I don't see why it would be changing tonight.
There's a mute jammer in behind that mirror window. That is why you will not see those X-Kairos pellets being activated just yet. But certainly a nice way of blocking the line of sight, if nothing else. And I'm sure they will work on clearing that out. You can get the vertical angle from at it. You can see it's just opened up above there. And right now, NIP are fighting a very high line of defense here. They are right up in the faces. And we can see the Thermite. He's just going to pop his charge on there. And mirror window dropped through choice just to burn off some of those X-Kairos, see if they could take the exothermic charge with it. And I think that's exactly what's happened. I think the reaction has come in quickly enough. And what about a reaction from Kamikaze there? Nitro onto live. That leaves us now 5 versus 4. 1 minute 10 left in this round. Julio playing the high line, just right up there at the rear stage. He's waiting to put that Vector to use. He gets a sight. Out goes the Nitro. He did promise, but will not deliver this time. He does down Ion, though. Muzi with a kill onto Unit. Astro trades that one out. 4 versus 2 we find ourselves. NIP, they are pushing hard for this major. They don't want this to go any further than it needs to. Astro, he's just biding his time. He's looking to move in there and pick up his Oppo. He needs to. That gives him at least a 2 versus 4 here. But Ion, he's 1 bullet away from death. And this Vector, we know, can pump out about 1,000 bullets a minute, and it will just rain through the remaining FaZe players if given any opportunity whatsoever. Julio, he's just keeping the old noggin down at the minute, keeping himself behind that table. He doesn't want to see his Cantaloupe popped as they come pushing forward. Pino gets Ion, and the focus now all falls onto Astro. 1 versus 4. Can he do this? He's got to look for anything he can find right now. Pino gives him a helping hand with a Nitro onto Psycho, but it is Julio ultimately the RTA shotgun as he moves through the door. That's going to be the final kill, and NIP go on to 4-1, and things, they are starting to look bleak for FaZe Clan.
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed FaZe Clan side that came into this matchup will now be feeling a little bit glum with the way it's gone. 4 rounds picked up for NIP. They've got themselves a large lead here. 3 rounds towering over FaZe, and oh man, we've seen them struggle in those areas previously, Tim. When they try and go in towards the backstage area, it just feels like they cannot force whoever plays up close towards the stage out of position. And again here tonight, it looked a little bit like Hamilton because NIP are not throwing away their shot. They kept it clean on the stage encounter, and they keep the game going in their favor. They've got these 4 rounds, Tim, and if they pick up a couple more, they'll have themselves a 3rd map, and they will win the major. They will be crowned the best in Brazil. That's what they're playing for. That's what's on the line here on Oregon. And if FaZe Clan are coming back through, they need to get a bit more outrageous, start doing something crazy, turn up the tempo, start hitting their shots, and bite back.
Quite an amusing little replay there. You remember the Nitro that Julio threw out that downed Ion?
Yeah.
It just seemed a little bit delayed from the Ash, and it wasn't. Essentially, he was just downed on the back of it. But I think because of the speed of the replay, it just looked, you know, like when sort of there's a kick in somewhere near a footballer, but there's nowhere near them, and then they throw themselves on the ground like a second or two later.
Yeah.
It just looked a lot like that. It was like the Nitro went off, and then Ion just sort of hits the deck a few seconds later, like, oh, like as if it was faked. It was brilliant.
Oh, man. Well, that's the thing, NIP. They do their own stunts, Tim. No stunt doubles needed into this one. But for FaZe, man, they have been stunted into the game, as it really has not gone well for them whatsoever. You've only got the 1 round so far. Fair play, you're on your attack of Oregon. You know, we've spoke about it throughout the whole of BR6 season that, yeah, Oregon is a little bit more defender-centric right now. It's the tale of a new map, but if defenders are doing things like this, you're not going to have a good time of it. Pino pushes out, and he is going to be a bit of a punisher as he will massacre Mav immediately to open up the round. But there's a trade. They shoot back through, and they do decimate him. So the Valkyrie won't be gunning for victory here in round 6. She'll have to leave it up to the other 4 dynamic players on NIP, Tim. With 2 minutes left on the clock, will this be a 5th round grabbed with both hands by Nip?
Losing the sledge isn't the end of the world there. The nades can be, of course, very, very useful, but it could have been worse. It could have been live, let's be honest, if you lose your thermite at that point. And you don't always get to pick on a run out who it is that you're going to come head to head with. Pino will just take whatever was in front of him, and he'll be quite happy with the sledge, but it could have been worse for FaZe. They do still have a platform. They traded it out with the kill onto the Valkyrie, and they can get themselves back into this, but it's a point I quite often make when the Valkyrie gets killed. Sometimes, Jackie, only really see that as sort of a half of a point now. I know when any of these players get killed, they go onto the cams and they feed in information, but the Valkyrie just seems to be more in tune with those cameras. They've got a real intimate knowledge of exactly where those black eyes have been placed. They're going to be straight on. They know what angles that they're hoping to achieve from them. They know what information they're trying to glean, and it just feels like straight away they're going to be really active on those cams. Out goes the Nitro there, unsuccessfully this time, but we're going to have a head-to-head here as the peak comes around from the Goyo. He's just going to dip away. The Monty's looking to get in there and aggress with that hip-fire pistol shot, but will not manage to get the kill as Julio shut down, and this is not looking good for FaZe right now. We see Kamikaze flashed and downed as he moves out through the door, but Live is down as well right now. Julio will get Astro and put the diffuser on the ground. A double from him. Psycho with the kill onto Ion in the midst, and that is going to be the round 6 going to NIP. And they are storming through Oregon. This is a performance like we have never seen from NIP before on this map.
And it's a major grand final. And Julio, he's trying to make good on his promise. It was the down that came out with a C4, but it really saved them in the late round. Forced to attempt to go for the revive whilst they're focusing on the other operator that's bleeding out beneath them. The whole round bleeds away, trailing off, leaving them here 5-1. The attacking side of NIP now coming back out. Can they keep up the level of attrition, the level of aggression, Tim, that they've been giving to us the whole way through the major? If they pick up 2 more rounds, that is it. The grand final will be concluded. We will have our champions of LATAM. NIP will win the 6th major. They will get the lion's share of the prize pool. That's 50 big ones. 50 smackers they're going to be walking out of her with that 50 grand in their back pockets, Tim, and the SI qualification points. That is what this is riding on. For FaZe, on the other hand, it's a matter of, if you're going to wake up, if you're going to get out of this bad dream, stop sweating and rolling and writhing around in the bedroom, you have to wake up now. Stop hitting snooze on the alarm and come back, show that you mean business, and fight back on your defense.
Yeah, I'd agree, Jackie. I would say that NIP moving on to match point in the next 3 rounds is going to be potentially catastrophic for FaZe. It is just going to leave them with too much to do. Obviously, as long as there is a round left in the game, teams can fight back into it, and we do see that happen. But with the way that NIP are playing right now, that's what we're talking about more than the scoreline. It really is the method by which we have found ourselves at this scoreline. NIP, they are just proving right now that the time and a place to bring your best, and the major grand final and the major semi-final and all along the way, that is the time to do it. Don't worry too much about the regular season. So long as you do what you need to, so long as you get yourself there, if you can turn up and perform on the big stage, that is what matters most. And NIP, they are, I'm not calling it just yet because they haven't won anything, but if this comes through, you can't say that they don't deserve it, Jackie. They've been fantastic so far today.
I've been bombastic the entire way through, Tim. They're looking like the rebels on the server right now, and it is mad how well they have been playing. Each and every one of them stepping up, and I think, honestly, MVP of the major, if they do get the win here, has to go to Muzi. This man, the human Uzi incarnate, has really been slaying from far away. When you throw the clip into his firearm, he decimates and destroys. And in the round, is he going to destroy the hopes and dreams of FaZe? Will he guarantee the overtime safety net for NIP? Will they be able to show up another time tonight here in round 7? Or is there a bit of a comeback to be mounted for FaZe Clan? Info-wise, NIP are already in deep in the streets, Tim. Shenanigans coming through as they're going for the info play. They'll send in the thick lad of Psycho on the Monty. Major Monty himself making a mockery out of FaZe Clan as he'll be relaying all of this information over to the rest of the team, and they'll know exactly where the 5 players for FaZe are.
Anybody wondering about the impact nade that we saw there onto the rear stage stairs, just up at the top of it? That was purely, it was from a defender, and it was basically aimed at clearing out any potential claymore or air jab that was there. It was setting up the potential for a flank later in the round if the push was to come through Laundry or Freezer, but there is not going to be the opportunity for that, as we see NIP have got themselves established. They are all over pillars, they are all over bunkers, and right now it feels like they are all over FaZe Clan. The noose is starting to tighten here. It is coming in the ring of fire around FaZe. They are pushing forward. Psycho, he gets himself into that default plant spot. Kamikaze is going to look to get in there and cover. He's putting it down. He's got the turtle shield on his back there and just manages to avoid that nitro. Great play from him. Tries to back in, but just not quite enough. Drops the diffuser instead of going for the plant. He's going to give it another whirl. Muzi is to open things up onto Yuna. 5 versus 4 now. Can Psycho stick this? Yes, he can. This is not going to be easy for FaZe from here. 4 versus 4. We see kills coming backwards and forwards. This one is a nail biter. There is a man down in bunker. There is a second one down. It's all down to Psycho. Shut down. FaZe, they will be able to get in. Get the disable. Triple kill for Astro. He will finish things off on the diffuser as well. That one really looked dangerous for FaZe Clan, but they were able to fight back from the brink.
The jaws of defeat that are looming over FaZe. In one foul swoop, NIP could have been getting themselves that guaranteed OT and look to try and lock the game down and walk away as the winners. Instead, FaZe fight back. They keep them in check. It's one round, but that's what you need. Every journey has to start from that first round when it comes to comebacks like this, Tim. And if they do bring it back, that could open up the opportunity for the reverse sweep to begin for FaZe, because that's what's required of them. They have to reverse sweep, win the grand final, map after map all the way through to the end to find themselves crowned the champions here in the Six Major. And that is certainly a tall order to ask of this Fade side. So let's start and keep it in the current position we're in with the present. A second round, 5-2. We go back in. It's their next attempt on their defense. Will it be as successful as the first?
The longest of journeys, Jackie, must always start with a single step, and that is what FaZe have just taken. 1 foot in front of the other is all that they can do right now, but I'm a little bit worried for them given NIP's performance in that last round. They might not have come away with the win, but they established themselves in sight very quickly. It's something we've seen NIP struggle to do here on Oregon previously. They have struggled with the clock, and just getting in there and getting that diffuser down showed progress for them. It showed growth in terms of this map. They got themselves in there and really started to lock it down. And talking about locking it down, they are locking down the votes as well, Jackie. 78% on the poll there, thinking that NIP will take this map.
A lot of love coming out for the Ninjas in pajamas, Tim. And I tell you what, they might be in their Jimmy Jams if they can pick up another 2 rounders. They'll be putting this game to bed. They'll be tucking in every single one of the FaZe Clan team, one by one, popping them into bed, pulling the cover up tight and reading them a bedtime story. A bedtime story that's titled How NIP Won the Six Major and were crowned the best in Brazil. You'll be able to find it at all the best bookstores, Tim.
It'll certainly be a nice early night for FaZe Clan if it continues like this. And Astro will open things up onto Kamikaze. Good start on a run out there, showing Pino that he's not the only one who can take advantage of those Valkyrie Black Eye cameras. And he will take the Thermite off the board. So that is an absolute jackpot swing for Astro there, coming in and taking the hard breach. He's going to get Julio as well. That's 2 gone, and little bit of a unforgivable mistake for NIP there. They know that Astro has burst out of that main door. They've got to check to make sure he's not still in that area. Julio was just herring towards those armory stairs there, completely laser focused on only that, and he loses his life along the way. So we find ourselves now 4 versus 3 after the smoke is taken off the board, but this is a round that looks like it's going in the direction of FaZe as Mav steps up and gets a kill onto Psycho. We find ourselves with 1 minute 30 left to go. It's Muzi and Pino that are left. You'd never write them off, Jackie, but this is going to be an enormous task for them.
Oh, a humongous firefight ahead of them if they want to be able to bring it back, and it all comes down to the sole survivor, the Lone Ranger with a big iron on his hip. He's going to be rolling into town to see if he can do some damage, and of course he strikes first and strikes hard onto the opening frag. Swings round the corner though, and unfortunately for him, he's been set up on a date with the coroner off the back of that encounter with Ion. 2 players there. Ion waiting for the initial push at the backup of the Valkyrie as well, so even if he was dropped, there would have been a trade, and it wouldn't have been a madman spray down coming out from Muzi. Instead, it's a 5-3 split now, and it does actually seem like maybe there is more fight left in FaZe here on Oregon, Tim. They're not content with losing on Oregon here in this manner. They want to prove that there is a reason why they're in the grand final, there's a reason why they're in the major, and they're starting to show up.
This is going to be a real testing point for them. This is the point where that steel sword is dunked into the vat of cold water, and we will see if it shatters or if it comes out stronger. Heading into meeting and kitchen for FaZe. It is a tertiary site, and it is generally the site. If any is going to be lost on defense, it will be here. And right now, NIP, they need to recognize that, and they need to get themselves in and take the chance as it is put in front of them, because this could be defining for them, Jackie. They came in here 4-2 at the half. Sorry, 5-1 at the half. So they only need those 2 rounds. So they can allow FaZe to have the successful rotation through Laundry, through Dorms, and then they can beat them in meeting. And they can go through that process again, and they will still come out the victors. So NIP, this is your moment. If you want to take this major title with a real show of dominance, with a real statement, now is the time to do it. Now is the time to come and win this round, lock it down 6-1, and really sort of make a statement now.
will FaZe Clan's ears be ringing off the back of that statement being made, though? Are they going to scream and shout and let it all out and let out that confidence coming into round 9? Time will tell as we slowly tick by. 2 minutes and 35 still on the clock here. Very early doors into this one. Pino and co. beginning their rappel, climbing their way around, starting to open it up ever so slightly. They have invested in bringing out the Monty once again. Of course, you've also got the Capitao, so usability and utility through the roof. There's an awful lot they can do here, and again, this looks more like they want to try and that slower style of approach, which does complement the operators they brought out. They can utilize those asphyxiation arrows into the last few minutes of this one. It's effectively your counter gambit to what FaZe can do with their smoke. You can block off the angles, and talking of being blocked out, the window being opened up, that's going to let in the sunlight, and I thought it might have let in a bullet as well from the back of Pino, but he won't take the pot shot. Tim instead rotates back around to link up with the Monty and set their sights towards the A site.
Nothing on the table for FaZe Clan to deny those X-Kairos pellets opening up the mirror window, and that is exactly what is going to happen. Psycho may well look to move himself across, see if he can get a line of sight into sight from there. We can see he's just keeping himself shielded at the doorway now. Ion can take all the pot shots he wants. They are not going to do any damage whatsoever as they just ring off the shield of Montagna. And right now, the next mirror window looks to be cleared off, but big IQ play coming in from Mav there. Just dips around the other side, knows that he's safe to do so, and will just keep that attic area safe. Now, this is an interesting play. We don't tend to see mirror available too often, so we haven't really seen this yet. And it just allows that line of sight down there to prevent that vertical dominance. You can get over the top of the rear stage area in attic, and you can really rain down some pain onto the operators that are trying to hold a high line like Ion here. So that mirror up on the top floor, inside of the trophy room, looking into attic, it's going to be very important here that that remains in place.
It's also important that they keep doing what they're doing, where they're baiting out utility and baiting out shots. We've seen the smoke extend out another one of his canisters off the contact that was found from Psycho. Psycho goes in and has to get himself into the corner to stay alive. Shots through as we still Kamikaze dropping down to the ground and eliminating Yuna. Mav as well suffers the same fate. The only response they have is from the dock, and the dock starts to slay, invites them in and picks them to pieces. The scalpel is out and he's making an incision into the round and an incision into FaZe Clan's chance of getting themselves another map here in the grand final, Tim. He's denied the round for NIP. Gigantic play from Ion there. That is magnificent.
Ion went into surgery there, and I don't think his mortality rate was maybe what a doctor would be looking for, but it was exactly what Ion and FaZe needed. Came away with 3 bodies there in the meeting room and completely shut down a push that was looking very promising. At that point, we saw the man count go in the favour of NIP, but into the breach he went, and we will see a few of those kills now from Ion. It was just so important for him to do that. 5-4 now on the board, but as I said coming into that, it was more about the site than anything else. It was the site that was particularly important. By winning that one out, they now have the rotation of Laundry and Doems, where they've already won. They had to go better than 5-1 on their half in order to win this. They've just won the first 3. If they can repeat that and do it again, win the same 3 sites again, they are going to take Oregon 7-5 and rip it away from the clutches of NIP. But they've got to go to Consular afterwards, and it's going to be tough, Jackie.
And that's what's scary, Tim, because this is just the beginning. This truly is the start of something new for FaZe. If they mount their comeback here, it is one map of many. As I said, it has to be a reverse sweep, a feat that is hard, no matter what matchup it is, no matter if it is a game that doesn't have as much pressure to it as well, because this isn't your standard bracket play, this isn't your standard best of 5, this is a best of 5 major title that's on the line. That means an awful lot to every single one of the players that will be on the server. All 10 of them, Tim, will want this for the bragging rights, for the pride, for the money, for the SI points, for what it means in a game like Siege to say that you have won a 6 major. That means they need to get themselves to that coveted 7 rounds. But into round 10, we have 2 minutes and 25 on the clock as the push starts to come out. Psycho. He'll have the barricade opened up ahead of him. He can walk his way in, but unfortunately, he walks straight onto some Lego. A little goo mine that's going to jab him in the foot. He'll have to back up and pull that out before once again setting his course further forward. Issue is, Tim, there's a plug there on the next one. It's a nightmare, mate.
Oh, they're everywhere, Jackie. They're on every step of the stairs here, and you're coming down in the morning, you just want a cup of coffee, and you're peeling toys out of your feet, Jackie.
Mate, is that from experience, Tim?
Absolutely.
Nightmare. It must be like living in Siege.
It's a heck of an alarm clock.
Oh, I can imagine so. That's why you were so exhilarated into the show tonight, pulling out bits of Lego from the leg. And let's see if FaZe Clan will be able to let themselves go a bit. Go crazy here. Turn up like a tornado and kick NIP into the air. Kick up some fuss, kick up some dirt, and do some damage against them so that they're pushing up daisies. Astro going to make a play with the Nitro. Unfortunately for him, it will get stuck on the doorway and won't cause any disarray to him. 5-4 on the round. 5 versus 5 in the server. Who's going to pick up round 10?
Hitting that Nitro would have been like threading a needle with your eyes closed, trying to get it through that very specific gap between the shield and the door frame there, and just unable. But if nothing else, it did prevent the push. It did prevent Psycho feeding that information back continuously. He had to dip out for a few minutes and come back, but right now we can see that a push is going to come along. Psycho looks to move in, but the kills just rain in. FaZe just behave as if he's not there. Muzi will go in behind him. Mav is in the corridor. Shut down as he moves out of the smoke. A dangerous move for him because he didn't know what he was heading into. Muzi, this is your opportunity to get the diffuser down. Psycho's holding them at bay. That's exactly what he's going to try to do. That is an essential kill from Julio, but we have Ion shutting down Psycho. Muzi steps into the breach and gets the kill. 3 versus 1 now. The diffuser is in hand. It is not activated yet. Ion has been forced back behind that deployable shield. Gets one, but shut down as he does. Great cover coming in from Muzi, and that is going to take NIP onto match point here. Can they get them another? Can they take this R6 major in the first 3 maps?
Man, Muzi is a monster. He's an absolute online-animal. He doesn't need to be on LAN. It doesn't matter if he's on the server, because the only thing that's pinging right now is him when he's flicking the heads, Tim. Shot after shot. Bludgeons everyone that comes towards him, picks up himself a hat trick, and hats off to NIP with the way they've been playing tonight here in the major. 6-4, 1 round is all that stands before them being crowned the champions, the best and brightest of Brazil, the lords of LATAM. That is what could be coming up, the title they will be getting. Their name etched into the history books of Siege, Tim, if they can find one more round tonight against FaZe Clan and take it 7-4.
Absolutely massive for NIP. Not just coming in and potentially winning the major, but winning it inside of 3 maps of a best of 5 as well. That is absolutely huge for them. And it is just, as I've said, such a statement on the world stage that we are here. It doesn't matter whether it's LAN, it doesn't matter whether it's online, because that was a little bit of the discussion that was going on through that regular season, Jackie. We've had NIP come out and be really strong on LAN and then start to struggle online, and you think, is that how it's gonna be going forward? But no, they are showing that they are more than capable of competing whatever the environment right now. They are on a map that they have consistently struggled with. Let's not forget, Jackie, they were absolutely belted for 7-0 by Team 1 on this very map during the regular season. And right now, they are coming out and they are scrapping like a championship side does. They are scrapping for every inch to pull this over the line.
In the finish line, it's getting closer and closer. The marathon that we thought the best of 5 would be is clearly just turned into a sprint. And NIP, they've got their running shoes on and they are dead set in taking it. They're bolt upright, sat at their PCs, but they are bolting towards that 7th round inside of the server. And that's a way to start it. Julio, man himself, coming out with the opening pick. He might be on the Cali. He might have a sniper with a hell of a scope, but he won't need that to take down a FaZe Clan member or 2. Instead, he'll just switch to his sidearm and disarm Astro, leaving it up to Ion, Live, Mav, and Yuna to try and clutch for FaZe to keep them in the major.
We know that this is a site that can be held with lower numbers than the attacker have. We know that. We've seen it. 5 versus 3, 4 versus 2. We have seen these sites shut down. If you remember, early in the season, Jackie, we saw Ion himself have a great clutch here on this very site. If you remember, it was the kiss to the right, bang to the left, just completely shut down the attack. But can he do it again? Have one of these players got a huge moment like that in them? Or is somebody from NIP, Muzi, Pino, Psycho, Julio, they're the ones that are left? Are they going to come in and have a huge moment here? Are they going to take this one by the scruff of the neck and drag it over the line? Yuna, it will be who leveled things up with that Nitro kill. So we now find ourselves 4 versus 4. 1 minute left to go, and I see a silhouette just drop to the right-hand side there, just suggesting that there's a rotation coming in here. There's a change in plan from NIP, and that just concerns me in terms of the clock, because you're burning a lot of time doing this, repositioning like this, and with 45 seconds left to go, they've abandoned the plan, and they are heading now towards the double window and towards dorms.
NIP, no strangers to playing with not much time. They normally go for their last-minute executions with about 25 seconds left, and it feels like that's exactly what we're going to get coming out here tonight. 6-4. We pick our way past 22 seconds, 21. NIP revving, waiting, getting ready to push, getting ready to fight. But when the fists get thrown, it favors FaZe, as we'll see Psycho slain. Pino trades back. Here comes Uzi, the human Uzi, to massacre his way through, takes himself to 12. One final frag is all that's required, and of course he's gonna do it. NIP, they win the major. They concede one map the whole way through. 3 days of competition. That's all they drop after fighting through 2 best-of-3s and 1 best-of-5 grand final. They will pick it up. They will be crowned the best in Brazil. The ninjas in pajamas have sent FaZe packing.
Not just ninjas today, Jackie, but winners also coming through with a huge performance, really asserting their dominance over this region there. They were electric. Muzi, it was to finish it off, and how deserving he has been of that moment today. Muzi has really done huge work for NIP. I'm sure it is something that we will ask Julio about when we speak to him in a few moments. They have been champions through and through today. They've looked like it. They deserved it after the whole weekend, and I could not be happier for NIP.
No, not at all. They've stepped up massively, right? We spoke to them the whole way through the season. And if you think about it, like a graph of their sort of finesse coming back to them, Tim, after what we saw at SI. Julio, they came in, they were at an all-time low. They weren't hitting their shots, they were struggling. He started off all the way down here, and week after week, every time we got to interview him, we saw that slow and steady increase with confidence coming back, with the play starting to land, with them improving once again. They hit their form at just the right time, coming into the major. And coming into the major, they've came, they've saw, they've conquered, and they have left themselves with history being made. Undefeated in the best of 5, dropping only 1 map throughout the entire major. That in itself is a point, Tim. That in itself is a full stop on the end of their run. Just beautiful play.
We've discussed it so many times over the last couple of days, last couple of weeks, Jackie, about form and particularly hitting form at the right time. And that's exactly what NIP have done. They would not trade any amount of those draws through the regular season to now find themselves struggling here. They'll be happy that all their wins have come at once at the end of the season at exactly the right time. They just did enough to get themselves into the major in that 3rd seed spot at the end, and then they have battled through, and they've not had it easy. They have not had it easy at all. They've had to beat FaZe Clan twice. They had to beat Team Liquid to begin with. Hot favourites for the tournament, it has to be said. NIP, they breeze past them and they go all the way, and what a result and what a lot of entertainment they've given us this weekend.
And what a load of money they have made. 50 grand into the bank of NIP. And more importantly, Tim, than the money, more importantly than those big doubloons they've got the SI points, Tim. They were second at SI last time around, and now they're starting to plant the seeds of making their way back there to compete once again on the biggest stage in Siege.
It's massive. That is, cannot be understated how important those points are. There's only going to be 4 teams around the world, I believe, that are coming away with that value of points. So it puts you right up there at the top, and it's also added to the points that were given for the regular season. I think all top 4 places, they gained the same amount of points, and then obviously whoever does better in the major will come away with more overall. So great result for NIP, and it just puts them a huge step towards getting themselves back to Montreal. They are without a doubt going to be looking to get back to that grand final again, but they are going to want a different outcome.
They will indeed. Possibly one more reminiscent of what we've seen here tonight, because they've lived their movie, Tim. They've moved in rent-free to the minds of FaZe Clan, and they've come away with not only the victory here tonight, but of course the victory overall, the whole way through the major, with the championship game being taken. They are crowned the champions of LATAM, and of course we're just waiting to speak to Julio, to get him in. I imagine he's probably taking some time to himself. Yeah. Right, you got to think he's going to be running around the team house. They're all going to be there. They're going to be jumping for joy. They're going to be mind-boggled by the fact that the major's already over, Tim. The show's been live, what, 2 hours?
Yeah, it's much quicker than we ever could have expected, and I didn't think, Jackie, coming out of this season, obviously it's the first time you and I have worked together, and I will add at this point that it's been an absolute pleasure, so thank you very much for the entertainment that you've brought. And I didn't think that anything could get more poetic than your rhymes, particularly towards the end of them rounds. You love to drop them, Jackie, and they are fantastic. They paint a beautiful picture. But the one thing that I've just found that has been more poetic has been NIP coming back and winning the major on Oregon, because boy, did they struggle with that map to begin with. It was their nemesis, and we just saw them then perma-ban it after that point. It was the first ban it every time for weeks, but they have come back. They have worked hard. They have developed themselves on that map, and they have gone from losing 7-0 to winning the major on Oregon, and that is massive.
Especially when you think at one point we were sat there speculating about the likelihood of them even getting to the major. We didn't think they were going to make top 4 for quite some time, Tim, because it seemed like they were struggling far too hard. And Julio himself, he said they were. He said they needed to improve, and improve they damn did, because they've looked crazy coming into it today. They've hit SI form once again, and they were stunning on the server. And we talk about a poetic end as well. You hit the nail on the head when you mentioned it previously, right? The one man to pick up a hat trick, to go big when it matters most, after all the show-stopping plays he's had throughout the season and then the major. Who else but Muzi to close it down, Tim?
It had to be, didn't it, really? He's just gone absolutely massive. I haven't got his exact final place into hand. He will be top 5 in terms of the stats on the season. And that is, that's no mean feat. He's going up against people like Palu and Nesk. You think, oh, wait, what, he's not the top one? But he is right up there amongst the greats of the LATAM region. And I tell you now, the greats of the LATAM region, they are well placed in the greats of the world as well.
Oh, and we've got a great in the building. The GOAT with the C4, the man himself, Julio, that always leaves you wanting more from him because he just brings the ruckus into every fight. Let's get him on in here and speak to Julio, because I'm just excited to speak to him after that. Julio, you've done it, mate. You've won the major. How are you feeling?
Hello, guys.
Congratulations.
I'm feeling pretty happy, and I think that's it. We're pretty happy, and I don't know. I don't even know what to say, man. I'm just happy.
I can imagine so, dude. I suppose you probably didn't even think it'd be over so soon. Off the back of the one map advantage, you just didn't stop. You've closed it out in literally 2 maps. That's crazy.
Yeah, Coastline is a good map for us. We play really good. And like I said to you guys, like I always say, we play all maps. So they picked Oregon. We don't play a lot of Oregon on the play days, but like we prepared a lot of new things for the major. It was worked out.
It was obvious that you'd done a lot of work on Oregon, Julio. Just saying, looking back to the season where you had that bad loss against Team One and then you seemed to drop away from it. It wasn't picked an awful lot. Have you done a lot of work on it specifically over those weeks that you haven't been playing it? Or is it that you just needed a break and to come back to it?
I think both. We lost 3 Oregons on the play days. So let's not play Oregon. Let's put behind and just practice, against good Oregon teams. We have I think the Brazilian Oregon is pretty good. So we did that, and we managed all the good things we get on the screens and prepared some good threats. And I think that's it. That's how we improved our Oregon.
Someone that played absolutely tremendously as well. We've got to talk about him. Muzi, he's been a monster throughout the entire major. The plays he's had tonight, I think, going to go down in history. Some of the shots he was hitting was disgusting. And the clutch round versus Mav back on Coastline. What was that like playing it?
I think about Muzi, he has the best inning of everyone for me, and he's pretty calm. So on finals, he's gonna play really good. He's to have good in and he's calm. He's playing with good operator, so I think he's always gonna be the star in the finals in these hard games. So I think he was calm. The Mav was not calm. It's just sprints, and I think that's it. It's not about the skill sometimes. It's being calm and try to win the round. It was a pretty difficult round. It was like he started it with 4 seconds. If Mav played good, he would lost. But Music played good. He played near the stairs to do that, and he did what he planned on that. Like 10 second time, he he had to think about that.
Looking towards the future now, Julio, you've got those SI qualification points on the board. It puts you a big step towards going back to Montreal. Is it straight back into the VODs and the hard work for stage 2, or will you have a little break and just enjoy the win?
We're gonna have a little break, like a weekend, and then we started to focus because we play this because we like. If we don't play, we don't practice. We're gonna stay all the day doing nothing. So we like to practice this pro player lifestyle. So yeah, we always are think about strategies and trying to improve, trying to win. And I think that's how every pro player, everyone is pretty focused, and I think that's it.
I tell you what, Julia, what I'm loving right now is you just look like you're chilling, mate. You seem so happy, honestly.
Yeah.
You won the major, you've done it. You just seem so calm about it all.
Yeah, I'm a pretty calm guy, but I'm pretty happy because we had a lot of second places, and now with this lineup, I think we deserved some titles. The invitation didn't come, but like we know we have the potential to be the best team in the world.
Oh, that's interesting actually as well, because obviously you've got the SI points now. Do you feel like this is an opportunity where we could see NIP back at SI and maybe this time in the finals it's a different outcome?
Yeah, for sure. We are so happy for the invitational. I hope we can go about the Corona thing, but if we go, we're gonna do our best, and next time we're gonna bring the trophy, the hammer.
I hope so, man. Well, you've absolutely smashed it here tonight. Julio, congratulations. Honestly, from me and Ace, it's been fantastic to watch you play throughout the season. The comeback has been incredible and the series was beautiful. Is there anything you want to say to all of the fans that came out? A lot of support was coming out tonight for NIP, and you've done it. You've won the major.
Thank you, everyone cheering for us. Now we bring the trophy. Thank you for everyone. Thank you, guys. I'm I'm loving the cast. I seen on the Reddit everyone like complimenting you guys, and I think that's right. And I think that's it. Thank you for all
Frank,
the Japanese, all the Australian, all the European fans, and that's it. Thank you, guys.
thank you so much, Julia. I really appreciate that. It's been a blast for us watching you guys come through and win. And, we really appreciate it. You've given us a lot of time over the season. You've given us a lot of interviews and, we've had a lot of fun talking to you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Hope to see you in person. Of course, we're gonna see us, and we're gonna have some drinks and talk about life in the game.
Oh, yeah. We'll make sure to celebrate the victory here tonight, Julio, if we ever get to meet. Hopefully sooner rather than later, mate. But congratulations. Honestly, the day's all about you. It's all about NIP. You're our champions. Go and celebrate.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. We're gonna enjoy our day, and tomorrow we're gonna practice. No, just kidding, just kidding. But we're gonna enjoy. We're gonna enjoy this day. Thank you.
I hope so, man. Lovely to speak to you. We'll catch you later on, Julio. Thank you so much for popping on. He's just lovely, isn't he? I know we've got to say it every time, Tim, but I can't help myself. He genuinely is just such a nice guy.
He really is, and like you say, very chill. Still, he's just
chilling.
literally
He's just
won
chilling.
a major. You've just won a major, and he's like, yeah, I don't know what to say. It's everybody's happy, and it's fantastic to see. They obviously have a great team chemistry there. Julio's a great guy as well, and it's no surprise to see them coming out and winning things, because when you're enjoying what you're doing, that was a key thing that he said there for me, was we're going to get back to playing because we enjoy it. We love this game. And when you're enjoying what you're doing, that's when the wins really start coming.
They do. And they came through thick and fast, fast being the key word, as the major's done, Tim. I mean, honestly, after 5 weeks and then 3 days of back-to-back best of threes and a best of 5, how is it over so soon?
I don't know. It seems to have simultaneously. It's been a lot of work. We've had 15 play days crammed down into 5 weeks, but it has just given us something to look forward to day after day after day. We've never had more than sort of 3 days away from it, and I, for one, have absolutely loved it. It's been a wonderful introduction into the LATAM region, and like you say, it seems to have been a lot, but it's also gone very, very quickly.
It has been indeed. It's also been the birth of me and you as a duo, mate. And honestly, if we've got Julio's support, then I think we've made it. That did it for me. That's all I needed to hear. That's checked off my boxes. But let's get into the bracket and see how that has been checked off. Because, of course, the tournament is over. The major has concluded. But if you're just joining us, you're far too late for the fun and games. NIP have won 3-0. And this is what I was talking about, Tim. They drop one map all the way through the major. One map is all they lose.
It's just unbelievable when you think about it. When you look at the season that they've had and the way that they have struggled at times, you know, we kept saying they just get draw after draw after draw, and they just struggle to get themselves over the line. But what I like is that we've seen that development. We've seen that curve come through where they were struggling for time in rounds, and they've got that bit quicker, and then not a problem at all at the major, getting into position nice and early and really shutting rounds down. And it's been great to see.
It has been so damn good. And this is it. This is the final resting place for FaZe Clan. They leave the major, and NIP are crowned. 5 crowns for all of the superstars that are on that squad. I'm sure they are going to be celebrating the night away, getting the drinks in, sipping on the rosé, and living the high life with a new 50 grand they have won off the back of the tournament. And of course, those SI points that mean so much, Tim. I'm glad we got to ask him about it. And Julio, you can see he wants to go back to the Six Invitational.
Of course he does. You know, that's where every Siege player, that's where every Siege caster, that's where everybody who works on this game wants to end up. I've been there. I was fortunate enough to work there in February this time. February last year, I was there as a spectator, happy to go out there, and the environment is unbelievable, Jackie. I just cannot paint an exciting enough picture of what it is like to be in that arena with the lights, with the music, with the players there on stage, and there is absolutely no wonder or surprise why everybody fights so hard, especially these players, to get themselves there, because it is quite simply a magical event. It is unbelievable. If you love Siege, that is the absolute, home of it. It is a fantastic event.
It really, really is. And this has been a fantastic major. But of course, if you're thinking, how exactly did NIP do it? Well, we've got Ace of Pyrite and his big, beautiful brain, and we're going to let his brain flex a little, get some of those wrinkles out and have a look back. We've got the analysis segment here now, Tim, with something quite new that production have been cooking up. So bear with us. We'll see if it all works out quite nicely. We're going to give it a whirl, and Tim will take it away.
Bear with us is the key word, Jackie. We just
see how it goes.
Seeing as we've finished a little bit early, we're going to bring a little treat for you. It's something that we've been working on getting going, and we think we've done it, but please do bear with us. I'm sure that Jackie will have a good laugh at me as we go. So it might come as a slight surprise for you. If we basically are having a look at the final round, it's round 10. This was the point where NIP managed to basically get control over site and really start pushing themselves towards the win. So there was 3 rounds from FaZe consecutively, and then NIP managed to come in and get the win here. And we can see that basically Muzi managed to push himself in and got himself into the default plant spot. So if we have a look at that there, no, we'll try again, Jackie. We'll try again.
Nearly.
We'll get there.
This is why he's only silver and ranked.
That'll do for me. I'm going to go to Pen instead. So he gets in and gets himself into the default spot. There we go. Hey, he's got it. He gets in and gets into the default plant spot. And right now, that's applied a lot of pressure. But there's another important thing that has happened, and it's basically up in the corridor here. So we can just see these smokes that have come in there. They are really, really big because they were being challenged from that door, double door of the laundry site. They were being challenged along there towards those rear stairs, and it was pinning them down. But the problem was Mav then had to push through. So he came inside the smoke as the Legion, and he pushed through here. And he lost his life as he did because he was just coming into absolutely nothing. So as we can see, the kill has just come in. It's Pino who shuts him down. And that really opened things up because what happened was when those smokes are there and when Mav's been called as dead coming through that corridor, it's allowed Psycho on the Monty just down at the bottom here. It's allowed him to push through. I missed that one, Jackie.
Nearly.
It's allowed him to push through into that space, which has basically then forced the players back further into the site. And Muzi can start trying to get that diffuser down. But there was a really important thing that happened, and that was Julio getting the kill onto the rear stage stairs as well. There was a bit of an attempt at a flank. You can see we've only got 2 defenders in front of us there, and I've got quite a lot of drawing on, so we'll get rid of that. There's only 2 defenders in front of you there, and basically you've got 2 of the attackers on the rear stage, and they push forward to try to apply pressure. So these guys here, they just push forward and try to apply that pressure down on towards site, down towards that electrical room. But as they do that, somebody tries to hit them on the flank, and Julio, he just flips around 180, takes them out. And that for me was the really pivotal moment, because that could easily have been a 2 or 3k backstab, and all of a sudden it's back in the favour of FaZe Clan. But we just had the lines drawn in round 10, all the defenders off to the left, attackers off to the right, but ultimately those smoke grenades that I highlighted earlier in the corridor, they for me were really the key.
Yeah, it was live, I believe, on the mute as well that was coming for the backstab on the stairs, because I caught a glance of it, Tim, and I was thinking, this is it. This is how you stay in the competition. But obviously, not tonight. No chance for him. He was sent off to sleep school, and in the end, it seems like anyone that was sleeping on NIP are going to be sorely disappointed by the outcome, because they have won the major, Tim. They lock it down. They don't drop a map in the best of 5. They drop 1 map throughout the entire competition, and they are crowned the best of Brazil.
They certainly are, and hopefully you've enjoyed what we have brought you along the way as well. We've testing new things. We've had the little zooms on the replay production. Have worked so hard. The little analysis segment we were able to do then. Excuse my drawing. We'll get there. I'm practicing on it. We will get better. But it was just a good opportunity to show that to you, and just to really show as well how how hard production have been working. And I know we've shouted them out a couple of times, but we are at the major, we're in the grand final, and I want to take the opportunity to give those guys some limelight as well, because often they just do not get enough, and they really have worked hour after hour after hour to bring us the best show that they could, and it has painted a fantastic picture. It is not just Jackie and I, obviously you see our faces, but there is so much behind us that enable us to do what we do, and it is a huge thanks to those guys from me.
It truly, truly is. It's been fantastic to obviously have producer Simon and Jacob helping us out throughout the major. The replays have been on point, the zoom-ins have been banging, and we've zoomed through it. It's done. The major is now concluded. I'm sure you're probably joining us and tuning in and thinking, what on earth? How is it over already? Where am I going to get my Siege feel for the day? Well, I'm sorry. You're going to have to go back. You're going to have to catch up on the VODs and watch back through it. You might as well, because it was a true test of skill that came out from NIP tonight. The Ninjas have done it. They've won the tournament. They've taken victory here through the 3 days of the major for LATAM. They are crowned our champions. And for me and Ace, we are done and dusted. Tim, any final thoughts on the major before we wrap up for stage 1 of LATAM?
What an absolute pleasure it's been, Jackie. I've said it already, but working alongside yourself, it's been a learning curve for us, but I feel like we've hit our stride really, really quickly. I've had an awful lot of fun, so thank you very much for that. I feel you've helped me bring out a bit of my personality as well. We've had some banter, we've had some laughs, and it's been a real ton of fun. Thank you to the players. Thank you to everybody who watches at home. You make it all possible. Without you guys, Ubisoft and Face It as well included in that, we wouldn't be here and we wouldn't get to do what we do. Just a guy who loves watching Siege, Jackie, and I get to bring that excitement to everybody at home. So it's a dream come true for me. So thank you very much to everybody for having us.
And I'm just the guy that gets to do it alongside you, Tim, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Not for love nor money, mate, because that is it. We're going through this for the long haul now, Tim. We can't leave the people. They've shown that they want it too much. Julio's shown that he wants it too much. So we will be back, and so will the competition. BR6 will return. There's going to be a bit of downtime off the back of the major, so don't worry about it. Chill out, get your ranked games in, and then return when we do. Keep it locked to social media. You'll be able to find out updates there going forward. But for the major, it is over. A major victory for NIP. Thank you for watching. Anyone that's been watching since the start, we love you so much, and we will see you next time.
Sé que a ti te tengo aprendida, sé que a ti te gusta esta vida, superando todo lo que hacía, este es mi nueva melodía. Esta falda corta me encantó, ese baile nuevo me encendió, como me lo mueve con sabor, mami mejor dame de tu amor, cuando yo te vi de vestir, te fuiste pa' mí, te tuve que abrir, cuando yo te vi de vestir, te fuiste pa' mí, te tuve que abrir. Sé que están hablando mal de mí, porque superamos mal de ti. Esto todavía es la nueva, ahora la controla a mi manera. Me dice que la quiere tocar, sé que tú te quieres tocar. Me dice que me quiere amar, solamente quiere jugar. Me dice que la quiere tocar, sé que tú te quieres tocar. Me dice que me quiere amar, solamente quiere jugar. Sé que están hablando mal de mí, porque superamos mal de ti. Esta moda mía es la nueva, ahora la controla a mi manera. Y que sé que están hablando mal de mí, porque superamos mal de ti. Esta moda mía es la nueva, ahora la controla a mi manera. Y que si enseguida vamos, siempre controlando. Si enseguida vamos, siempre controlando. Me dice que la quiere tocar, sé que tú te quieres tocar. Me dice que me quiere amar, solamente quiere jugar. Me dice que la quiere tocar, sé que tú te quieres tocar. Me dice que me quiere amar, solamente quiere jugar. Sea lo que sea, cuando ella lo desea, lo compramos pa' que vea. Ven acá, ven acá, dime lo que sea. Lo compramos pa' que vea, pa' que vea. Sea lo que sea, cuando ella lo desea. Lo compramos pa' que vea. Ven acá, dime lo que sea. Lo compramos pa' que vea, pa' que vea. Me dice que la quiere tocar, sé que tú te quieres tocar. Me dice que me quiere amar, solamente quiere jugar. Me dice que la quiere tocar, sé que tú te quieres tocar. Me dice que me quiere amar, solamente quiere jugar. Me dice que la quiere tocar, sé que tú te quieres tocar. Me dice que me quiere amar, solamente quiere jugar. Me dice que la quiere tocar, sé que tú te quieres tocar. Me dice que me quiere amar, solamente quiere jugar.
No sé qué tú ves en mí, mi amor. Ya no dejes de mirarme, que ya me gusta quién soy. contigo me siento en control. Eres el balance en este mundo, poco humor. Se volvió ese chico que habló en mis canciones. Esas madrugadas y hermosas conversaciones. Se volvió ese chico que quería ver otra vez. Y me enamoré a volverlo a ver. Tú me ves como nadie más, bebé. Me diste alas para que vuele, pero motivos para quedarme. Tú me ves como nadie más, bebé. Tú me curas cuando más me duele. Sé que siempre has sabido amarme.
Eso eres tortolito, no queda bien, bebé. Mejor de tus amigas diciendo que no ven. Que esto sea duradero, que sea algo sincero. Que un perro no cambia y eso es lo que es él. Pero tú lo viste, mi amor. Tú fuiste mi mejor versión. Tú hiciste lo que nadie quería. Serías para mis poesías. Siento que tú solo sabes. Si rico comparte maldades. Pero sincero, verdadero, baby. Secreto que tú solo sabes. Momentos que siento reales. Yo lo prefiero que en un largo tiempo sea tu caballero.
Tú me ves como nadie más, bebé. Me diste alas para que vuele, motivos para quedarme. Tú me ves como nadie más, bebé. Tú me curas cuando más me duele. Sé que siempre has sabido amarme. Se volvió ese chico que habló en mis canciones. Esas madrugadas y hermosas conversaciones. Se volvió ese chico que quería ver otra vez. Y me enamoré a volverlo a ver. Tú me ves como nadie más, bebé. Me diste alas para que vuele, pero motivos para quedarme. Tú me ves